Step away from the relentless hum of the modern world. Forget the flashing screens, the constant notifications, and the demands of a life lived in fast forward. We are traveling back far across the centuries to the year 1280. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the Mediterranean Sea, where the air is thick with the scent of salt and the frantic energy of a world in motion. Alexandria, the jewel of the coast, is a city of chaos. Merchants shout across crowded docks, wooden wheels grind against ancient stone, and the sun beats down with a ferocity that makes the very air shimmer. The noise is overwhelming, a cacophony of languages, clashing ambitions, and the heavy, humid heat of a port that never sleeps. But you are not staying in the heat. You are turning your back on that blinding glare and stepping through a heavy timber-framed doorway. As you cross the threshold, the world transforms. The clamor of the port is instantly severed, replaced by a profound heavy silence. You have entered the vaulted warehouse alcove, a sanctuary carved deep into the limestone foundation of the city. Here, the massive walls are feet thick, acting as a natural shield against the sun and the turmoil outside. The temperature drops immediately, settling into a cool, refreshing embrace that feels like a long, deep exhale. Sit down on the woven reed mat spread across the cool stone floor. Feel the texture of the dried fibers against your skin, providing a firm, grounded foundation. The light here is soft and amber cast by a single clay oil lamp resting in the wall niche. It flickers gently, casting long dancing shadows against the arched ceiling, creating a space that feels both vast and incredibly intimate. You are in complete safe isolation. There is no one to answer to, no deadlines to meet, and no expectations to fulfill. Take a breath and let it out slowly. The air in this alcove is heavy and intoxicating, a rich tapestry of scents that tells the story of the entire world. You are surrounded by the treasures of the East and the spice trade of Africa. There is the sharp, bracing citrus of cardamom, the warm, woody sweetness of cinnamon bark, and the deep, dark, earthy musk of whole cloves. It's a fragrance that is both soothing and grounding, a scent that seems to permeate the very stones of this chamber. You are here to sort. Before you are piles of these precious commodities brought across oceans and deserts to reach this cool, quiet refuge. You are the custodian of this stillness. You reach out your hand sinking into a mound of dried cardamom pods. The sound is delicate, a soft papery rustling like the shifting of autumn leaves. As you lift them, you can feel the individual pods, smooth and slightly rigid against your skin. You begin the process, moving with a deliberate, unhurried pace. There is an incredible, meditative power in this repetition. You pick up a handful, inspect the quality, and gently place them into the waiting earthenware jar. Clink! The sound of the pot hitting the ceramic bottom is subtle and satisfying. This is your task. It is predictable, it is rhythmic, and it is entirely under your control. The outside world is forgotten, left behind in the harsh glare of the sun, while here you are protected by the weight of the stone and the richness of the spice. As you continue, your mind begins to settle. The chaotic thoughts that typically race through your day-to-day life lose their momentum, slowed by the steady pace of your hands. You become attuned to the subtle differences in the scent profiles, noticing how the cinnamon releases a different warmth than the cloves. The lamp continues to flicker, a steady heartbeat of light in the deepening shadows. You are safe, you are at peace. The warehouse is your fortress, a sanctuary of sensory comfort where time has lost its meaning. Consider the history held within these walls. You are a part of a long lineage of people who have found comfort in the simple, necessary labor of their hands. In 1280, amidst the grand expansion of empires and the shifting tides of power, this small vaulted alcove remains a bastion of stability. It doesn't matter who sits on the throne or what ships have landed in the harbor today. What matters is the order you are creating in this space. You are bringing structure to the scattered elements of the world, one handful at a time. Feel the cool air against your face. Listen to the gentle white noise symphony of the spices shifting. There is a profound honesty in this work. Every pod, every stick of bark, every clove represents a long journey across the globe. Yet here they rest, waiting to be organized, waiting to be preserved. You are the final piece of their journey. You are the one who ensures that they are stored with care, kept away from the dampness of the port, and shielded from the harshness of the elements. As the shadows grow longer, the sense of security intensifies. The thick limestone walls feel like they are wrapping their arms around you, locking away the turbulence of the 13th century and keeping you in a timeless bubble of tranquility. You reach for the cinnamon bark next. It is heavier, rougher, and possesses a scent that seems to cling to the air, comforting and familiar. You trace the curves of the bark with your thumb before setting it in the jar. Another sound, a dull wooden thud that speaks of quality and patience. You are entirely present. There is no past to regret and no future to fear. There is only the current jar, the current pile, and the scent of the world settling into place around you. Let the rhythm take hold. Let the silence of the warehouse fill your chest. You are in the safest place in Alexandria, and you have all the time in the world. The persistence of the work is what anchors you here. In the outside world, things are fleeting. Ships arrive and depart, coins change hands, and the winds of the Mediterranean shift with the seasons. But here in the vaulted alcove, the rhythm is constant. You have developed a flow, a sequence of movements that has become second nature. Scoop, sort, place, scoop, sort, place. The movement of your arm is like the slow, steady pendulum of a clock, measuring out time, not in seconds or minutes, but in the filling of earthenware vessels. Each jar, once filled, is a testament to an hour of quiet focus. Each lid you place on top is a final seal of completion. You look down at the pile of cloves before you. They are small, dark, and almost black in the amber light of the lamp. They resemble miniature nails, hard and unyielding to the touch. When you run your fingers through them, they don't rustle like the cardamom. They clatter with a dry, metallic resonance. The scent is intense, an olfactory punch that is sharp, medicinal, and deeply spicy. It reminds you of distant lands, of the long, arduous journeys taken by the caravans that brought these spices across the desert sands and through the winding trade routes of the East. You are touching the history of trade itself, the physical remnants of a global exchange that spans continents. Yet, despite the vast distance these items have traveled, they have found their way to your hands. They have arrived in this quiet, cool dark to be brought into order. You find yourself fascinated by the tiny imperfections in the cloves. Some are slightly curved, others are almost perfectly straight, and some have the tiny four-petaled crown still intact. You treat them with the respect that their journey demands. There is a strange intimacy in this. You are a stranger to the people who harvested these just as you are a stranger to the merchants who traded them. But you are the person who holds them now, the one who brings them to their final organized rest. The stone walls around you seem to pulse with a low vibrating hum, not a sound, but a feeling. It is the weight of the masonry, the ancient limestone blocks stacked with precision centuries ago by hands that long ago returned to the dust. These walls have seen the rise and fall of dynasties, the shifting tides of the port, and the relentless heat of countless summers. Yet they remain unmoved. They are your silent partners in this endeavor. They trap the cool air of the night, holding on to it, even when the sun reaches its zenith outside. You are tucked into a fold of time where the environment is perfectly controlled, perfectly stable, and perfectly protective. You shift your position on the reed mat. The fibers are woven tightly, and though they have been used for years, they remain supple. You feel the cool stone floor beneath the mat, a grounding sensation that keeps you connected to the foundation of the building. Your legs are comfortable, your posture is relaxed, and your breathing is steady. There is no urge to rush. The jars aren't going anywhere, and the pile of spices is finite. You have reached a state of flow where the mind stops questioning and starts simply experiencing. Think of the contrast between this room and the life you might lead elsewhere. Here, you are not a cog in a machine or a participant in a grand, loud narrative. You are a solitary soul, a weaver of order, a caretaker of scent. The flickering oil lamp creates a circle of illumination that defines your world. Everything outside of that circle of light, the dark corners of the ceiling, the deep recesses of the shelves, the hidden spaces behind the stacked jars, is a mystery, but it is a friendly mystery. You are not afraid of the dark. You are grateful for it. It is the darkness that allows the light of the lamp to exist, and it is the shadow that makes the quiet so absolute. You pick up a handful of cinnamon bark. These pieces are brittle, rolled into tight, hollow quills that look like scrolls of some ancient aromatic parchment. They have a different character than the cloves or the cardamom. They are substantial, woody, and warm. You hold a piece up to the light, observing the delicate layers of the bark. It's a marvel that something so simple can carry such a powerful, evocative aroma. As you place it into the jar, you think about the kitchens of Alexandria, the feasts that will be seasoned with these very sticks. You are the invisible link in a chain of pleasure, ensuring that the ingredients of luxury are handled with the care they deserve. The sensation of the work is deeply satisfying. There is a sense of accomplishment in every filled jar. You line them up on the ledge of the alcove, a row of identical earthenware vessels, each labeled or marked in a way that only you truly understand. They are your army of peace, your collection of calm. You feel a sense of pride in this alignment. Everything is straight, everything is orderly, and everything is in its place. The chaos of the world has been filtered out, refined, and set into a state of perfect repose. You lean back for a moment, letting your hands rest. The scent is now so pervasive that it seems to be part of your own skin. It is comforting, a familiar fragrance that acts as a boundary against the outside world. You look at the oil lamp, noting how the flame dances in a tiny draft that somehow finds its way through the massive stone, yet never threatens to go out. The light reflects in the polished surface of the ceramic jars, creating little stars of amber. You are the architect of this sanctuary, and as long as you continue this work, the peace will hold. You have crafted a life where the most important thing is the texture of the spice, the stillness of the air, and the steady rhythmic beat of your own heart. In this warehouse, under the vaulted roof, you are the master of your own tranquility, and the world is exactly as it should be. The rhythmic nature of your labor begins to deepen, moving beyond mere physical tasks into a state of profound mental clarity. There is a curious alchemy in the way you work. As you continue to handle the spices, your thoughts begin to mirror the environment. They become quieter, more sorted, and eventually beautifully still. The act of separating the cardamom from the dust, of clearing the cinnamon of debris, and of organizing the cloves by size has a calming effect on the nervous system. You are practicing a form of meditation that has existed for as long as people have had objects to manage. It is the art of being present. Outside, the city of Alexandria continues its relentless march. You can imagine the ships docking, the heavy thud of timber against the harbor walls, and the cries of the dockhands. But these sounds are now merely ghosts. They don't penetrate the thick limestone barrier of this alcove. The masonry, cooled by the depths of the earth and the thickness of the centuries-old construction, acts as a filter. It keeps the heat, the dust, and the desperation of the outside world at bay. You are living in a pocket of time where nothing changes, and for this you feel a deep, abiding gratitude. You reach for another handful of cardamom. They are smaller than you remembered, each one a little green treasure. You sift them through your fingers, letting the dry husks fall away from the firm seeds within. The friction of the movement creates a soft, almost imperceptible sound, like the whisper of wind through dry grass. You find yourself focusing on the tactile sensation of each pod. Some are plump, some are slightly shriveled, and each one has a slightly different shape. You are not just sorting, you are observing. You are appreciating the unique nature of these simple ingredients that have traveled across vast treacherous oceans and dangerous trade routes to arrive in your hands. The light from the oil lamp in the niche seems to have stabilized. The flame is tall and steady, casting a warm golden glow that turns the dull gray stone of the walls into something rich and inviting. The shadows are long and soft, giving the alcove a sense of depth and mystery. You feel as though you are sitting in the heart of a cavern, protected by the very foundations of the city. There is a sense of ancient history here, a connection to the generations of merchants and clerks who sat in this exact spot, doing the exact same work, finding the same peace in the odor and the scent of the spices. You begin to sort the cloves with even greater focus now. These are more challenging, requiring a sharper eye and a more steady hand. You are looking for the dark, polished ones, the ones that have retained their full form. You feel the grit of the clove under your touch, the strength of the dried bud. It is a sturdy, reliable sensation. You place them into the jar, and the sound is crisp, a definitive tick that signals a job well done. You have learned that this is the best way to handle the work, one small task after another, each completed with total dedication, each serving as a building block for the piece you have cultivated. The air remains heavy and intoxicating. You breathe it in, filling your lungs with the scent of East Africa and the distant lands of the East. It is a complex perfume, one that shifts slightly as you move the piles. The cardamom brings a bright, cooling sensation. The cinnamon provides a deep, hearth-like warmth, and the cloves offer a sharp, medicinal clarity. It is the smell of the world's riches, gathered together in one place, and you are the one chosen to keep them safe. You feel a strange sense of responsibility, a commitment to the order of these things that makes you feel needed, and by extension, significant. You lean forward, stretching your back slightly, and observe the row of jars you have completed. They sit on the ledge like silent soldiers, each one a monument to a moment of focused, quiet labor. You notice how the light hits the earthenware, highlighting the coarse texture of the clay. It is a simple, humble material, yet it holds such precious things. You find comfort in this humility. You are not striving for grandeur or for wealth. You are striving for balance and for the quiet satisfaction of a job performed with care. In this moment, the concept of the outside begins to lose its meaning entirely. Does it matter what the merchants are saying at the port? Does it matter who is trading for gold and who is trading for silk? In your alcove, these concerns are non-existent. You are existing in a pure, unadulterated moment of being. You are the architect of your own atmosphere. You are the one who dictates the pace, the one who defines the value of the time spent here. The world can continue to spin in its chaotic, noisy, and hot way, but you have found a place where time stands still. As you continue the work, you notice that your breathing has synced with the rhythm of your hands. You are slow, you are steady, and you are calm. You have forgotten what it feels like to be rushed. You have forgotten the pressure of deadlines or the anxiety of the future. There is only the pile, the jar, and the scent. This is the ultimate freedom, not the freedom to go anywhere or do anything, but the freedom to be exactly where you are, doing exactly what you are doing, with a sense of peace that is profound and unshakable. The stone walls, the flickering light, and the heady aromatic air are all you need. You are content. And as you reach for the next handful of spice, you know that you could sit here forever, wrapped in the protective silence of the vault, perfectly at ease with the world and with yourself. The stillness of the alcove has a physical weight to it, a velvet presence that wraps around your shoulders like a heavy cloak. You find that your movements have become increasingly fluid, almost musical in their predictability. There is a profound sense of trust you have developed not just in the stability of the stone structure, but in your own capacity to sustain this inner quietude. You are no longer merely performing a duty, you are practicing a craft of preservation. By sorting these spices, you are creating a world where nothing is misplaced, where every grain of cardamom and every shard of cinnamon has found its rightful place. This alignment mirrors the desire for internal order, and you feel the scattered pieces of your own mind settling into place just as neatly as the spices in their jars. The shadows cast by the oil lamp have shifted, marking the slow, invisible passage of time. The flame flickers with a steady, hypnotic pulse, casting a warm, amber glow that dances across the curves of the earthenware pots. It is a comforting sight, a tiny beacon of humanity against the vast, cool darkness of the warehouse. You find yourself watching the flame as much as the spices, letting its steady rhythm guide the pacing of your hands. The room feels entirely detached from the year 1280 or indeed any year at all. It is a timeless chamber, a place where the history of the world is compressed into the fragrant, dry, and earthy remnants of a journey across the sea. You are the sole inhabitant of this reality, and the solitude is no longer a void to be filled, but a precious resource that you are savoring. You reach for the last of the cinnamon bark in the current basket. The wood is cool, having been shielded by the stone, and it feels smooth where the rough outer layers have been stripped away. You run your thumb along the edge of a quill, feeling the delicate, layered structure that holds so much concentrated warmth. It is almost poetic. The way this bark, once part of a living tree in a tropical forest, now sits in your hands in a cool limestone vault in Alexandria. It has traveled thousands of miles, endured the perils of the open ocean, and survived the humidity of the harbor, only to reach this moment of complete, unhurried attention. You are honoring that journey. By organizing these materials, you are ensuring that their essence is preserved, that they are ready to fulfill their purpose in the world above. Your focus narrows down to the smallest details, the way a single clove might be stuck to a larger piece of bark, or how a stray husk from the cardamom needs to be blown away with a gentle, controlled breath. You are acutely aware of the textures, the variations in weight, and the distinct subtle differences in color. There is a sense of accomplishment that comes from this deep observation in a world that is usually obsessed with the big, the loud, and the fast. You have chosen to cherish the small, the quiet, and the slow. This choice is a rebellion, a quiet act of defiance against the chaos of the port. You are carving out a space for peace, and the spices are your medium. The scent continues to deepen, becoming more layered as you work. The air is no longer just a fragrance, it is a physical sensation, a dense, sweet, and spicy fog that settles in your lungs and calms your pulse. It is as if you're breathing in the history of the Silk Road itself. You can almost feel the heat of the desert, the spray of the Indian Ocean, and the gentle swaying of camel caravans. Yet, all of these grand sprawling images are distilled down to the immediate reality of your hands on the mat. You don't need to travel to experience the world. You only need to be present with the things the world has left in your care. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the stone walls. They have become your constant companions. You find yourself leaning your shoulder against the cold, unyielding limestone for just a second, feeling the chill seep through your clothes. It is a reminder of the depth of the earth that protects you. Outside, the Mediterranean sun is probably still beating down on the rooftops of Alexandria, turning the streets into ovens. But here, the temperature remains consistent, a perfect cool balance. You are in a sanctuary, and the knowledge of this security allows you to fully let go of any remaining tension in your body. Your shoulders drop, your jaw relaxes, and your breathing becomes deep and rhythmic. As you begin to fill the next jar, you notice a small, beautiful pattern in how the spices settle. They don't just tumble in, they create layers, a stratification of color and texture that is pleasing to the eye. You realize that you have been creating art throughout the day, even if no one else will ever see it. The jars are filled with precision, the lids are handled with care, and the rows are aligned with military, yet gentle discipline. This is a work of love, a dedication to the idea that even the smallest task, when done with care, has value. You are content to be this person, the keeper of the spices, the dweller of the vault, the one who found a secret way to be at peace in a world that is so often in conflict. You take a final breath of the spice-laden air, feeling it settle deep in your core, and you prepare for the next phase of your peaceful work, knowing that the rest of the work can wait. The routine has become so deeply embedded in your muscles that you no longer need to look at what you're doing. Your hands move with a grace and efficiency that borders on the unconscious. There is a profound sense of satisfaction in this mastery, the way the senses of touch and smell have taken over the duties of sight. You reach, you sort, you place. The tactile feedback of the rough cinnamon, the papery cardamom, and the hard, dense cloves has become your primary language. You find yourself drifting into a state of semi-consciousness, a light, dreamlike trance where the boundaries of the self feel fluid. You are not just a person in a warehouse, you are part of the warehouse itself, a quiet, essential component of this ancient subterranean machine. If you ever feel the urge to step away from the bustle of your own busy life, remember that the stillness of the alcove is always waiting for you. By intentionally seeking out these pockets of silence, you can reclaim your own sense of calm and clarity, just as we are doing here today. If you enjoyed this journey into the quiet, rhythmic history of the 13th century, consider subscribing and joining our community for more immersive, peaceful stories that help you slow down and breathe. Your support allows us to continue building these sanctuaries of sound and history. Now, let's return to our task. The incense-like quality of the air seems to have intensified, or perhaps it is just that your senses are becoming more refined. Every time you shift a pile of spices, a fresh wave of fragrance rises up, greeting you like an old friend. You find the scent of the cloves to be particularly grounding. They have an almost woody, scorched earth quality that feels very close to the stone of the room. It is a masculine, protective scent, while the cardamom provides a feminine, lighter, almost ethereal contrast. Together, they create a balanced atmosphere that supports your focus. You are surrounded by the world's flavors, yet you are completely detached from the hunger or the desire that usually accompanies them. You are purely an observer, a collector, a sorter. You notice a small weathered mark on the stone wall behind your reed mat, a tiny intentional carving, perhaps left by a clerk centuries ago. It is a simple horizontal line, a tally mark. You wonder how many others have sat here in this exact spot, feeling the same cool air and smelling the same exotic perfumes. You realize that you are part of a continuous, unbroken line of humanity. The work is the same, the setting is the same, and the desire for peace is the same. There is a deep, comforting solidarity in this realization. You are not alone. You are walking in the footsteps of thousands of others who sought and found a reprieve from the world in the depths of these limestone vaults. As you work, you find yourself thinking about the journey these spices took to reach you. You imagine the creaking hulls of wooden ships braving the monsoon winds, the vast shimmering expanse of the Indian Ocean, and the narrow, dusty trails of the overland routes. All of that struggle, all of that human effort, and all of that risk was dedicated to delivering these small, precious items to this very spot. You are the final destination. It is a heavy, honorable thought. By treating these spices with care, you are validating all that effort. You are ensuring that the journey was worth it, that the product is handled with the dignity it deserves. This sense of purpose adds a layer of depth to your movements, transforming the work from a chore into a ritual. The light from the oil lamp is starting to dim as the oil runs low, but instead of rushing to refill it, you find yourself leaning into the encroaching shadows. There is a different kind of beauty in the deepening dark. It forces you to rely even more on your intuition. You are moving by feel now, your fingers mapping the contours of the jars and the piles with effortless precision. It is a liberating experience to realize that you don't need the constant bright glare of the world to be capable, to be useful, and to be whole. The darkness is not an obstacle, it is a soft velvet backdrop that highlights the importance of the work itself. You feel a sense of lightness in your chest, a loosening of the knots that have held you back for so long. The cool air of the vault seems to be washing over your skin, cleansing you of the residual stress and fatigue of the world above. You are in a state of grace. Everything is right. The jars are lined up with perfect symmetry, their contents sorted, protected, and honored. You are the curator of this fragrant silent world, and for this moment in the middle of 1280, there is nowhere else you would rather be. The peace you have built is not a fleeting thing. It is a solid, enduring structure, just like the walls that surround you, and it will remain here long after you have finished your work. The transition into the deeper hours of the day brings with it a transformation in the atmosphere of the alcove. The air feels even more settled, as if the very molecules of the room have agreed to remain still. You find that your own breathing has slowed to match this stillness, a long rhythmic cycle that feels entirely natural. You are no longer conscious of the physical effort required to sort the spices. Instead, your hands move with a fluid, liquid grace that seems to bypass the need for thought. It is as if you are watching someone else work, a silent spectator to your own calm efficiency. This detachment is not a loss of self, but rather an expansion of it, a loosening of the tight borders that usually define your identity in the world of men, markets, and mandates. You run your fingers through a fresh heap of whole, dried ginger roots that you have just uncovered from a sack. They are knobby, irregular, and surprisingly dense. Their scent is sharp and energizing, a bright citrus spice aroma that cuts through the heavier, more resinous perfumes of the cinnamon and cloves. They feel like small, solidified pieces of the earth itself, gnarled and tough. You take a moment to admire the strange, fractal-like shapes of the roots, noting how each one is entirely unique. This is the beauty of natural things. They possess an inherent, unforced order that man-made objects can never quite replicate. By sorting them, you are not imposing your will upon them. You are simply acknowledging their nature and giving them a space where they can be appreciated. The flickering oil lamp has become a meditative focus for your peripheral vision. Its flame is a tiny captive star trapped within the limestone walls of the vault. It doesn't flicker with erratic bursts of energy anymore. It burns with a steady, committed intensity, feeding on the small supply of oil in the lamp's reservoir. You feel a kinship with that flame. You are also burning steadily, keeping the darkness of the warehouse at bay with your presence and your purpose. There is no anxiety about when the oil will run out because you know that in this warehouse there is always another jar, another wick, and another drop of fuel. You are well provided for. You are safe. You catch yourself drifting into a state of reverie, wondering about the people who grew these spices. You see in your mind's eye the verdant, mist-covered hills of the east where the cardamom plants grow under the canopy of giant, ancient trees. You see the warm, sun-drenched coastal plantations where the cloves are plucked by hand and the high, breezy mountain terraces where the cinnamon is carefully peeled. These places are thousands of miles away, yet their essence is here, right under your fingertips. You are connected to these landscapes through the medium of your work. You are a bridge between the distant, wild, and vibrant world of production and the refined, quiet, and stable world of consumption. It is a profound, noble role, even if no one ever sees you do it. The silence is so absolute that you can hear the settling of the building itself. Occasionally, there is a tiny microscopic pop of stone or the shifting of a grain of sand behind the heavy masonry. It is the sound of time moving and the slow, majestic grinding that spans centuries. In comparison, your own life feels like a brief, beautiful flicker, a moment of consciousness in an eternity of stone. This perspective doesn't make you feel small or insignificant. Rather, it gives you a sense of freedom. If your life is a moment, then you owe it to yourself to make that moment as peaceful and as beautiful as possible. And what could be more beautiful than this? Sitting in a cool dark, surrounded by the scents of the world, performing a task that brings order and beauty to everything you touch. You think of the port outside, the screaming of the sailors, the clanging of the iron bells, and the frantic, sweaty desperation of people trying to buy, sell, and hoard. You feel a wave of gentle, unforced compassion for them. They are so busy, so consumed by the need for more, so terrified of being left behind. They are missing the stillness, they are missing the magic that happens when you stop, when you breathe, and when you simply attend to what is in front of you. You wish you could reach out and pull them into this alcove, just for a moment to let them feel the cool, aromatic peace of the vault. But you know that everyone must find their own path to the silence. Your hands are stained with the faint, aromatic oils of the spices, a permanent pleasant mark of your labor. You find yourself inhaling the scent of your own fingers, a deep, earthy perfume that lingers like a memory. It is a reminder that you are not separate from the world you are sorting. You are a part of it. You are a vessel of these scents, a carrier of their stories. This connection makes you feel incredibly grounded. You are not floating in a vacuum. You are anchored to the earth, to the history of the trade, and to the quiet rhythm of the present moment. As you reach the end of the current pile, you feel a sense of gentle completion. The jars are filled, the lids are aligned, and the work of the day is drawing to a close. There is a quiet, sacred quality to this ending. You haven't just finished a job, you have fulfilled a cycle. You have honored the raw materials, the journey they took, and the silence of the vault. You sit for a long time, not moving, just enjoying the sense of profound, well-earned rest. Sleepy History with Theodore is a sleep history storytelling platform created for entertainment, inspiration, education, and the promotion of positive emotional values. The darkness has deepened, but it feels less like an absence of light and more like a warm protective shroud. You have long since ceased to track the movement of the sun outside. The concept of day and night has been replaced by the steady, unblinking presence of the oil lamp. In this transition, you find a new layer of relaxation. Your muscles, once tense from the posture of your tasks, have fully surrendered to the comfort of the reed mat. You are completely horizontal in spirit, even as you remain upright in body. The sense of being in a high security vault, protected by stone that has stood for generations, creates a psychological safety net that allows your mind to untether itself from the anxieties of the 13th century. You are no longer just a clerk, you are a guardian of tranquility. You pick up a handful of star anise. Their shape is mesmerizing, a perfectly geometric, woody constellation that feels sharp and delicate against your palms. As you sift through them, they make a sound reminiscent of dry ceramic shards clicking together. The scent they release is distinct, a sweet licorice-like warmth that feels incredibly soothing. It is a fragrance that seems to slow down the heartbeat, a natural sedative that drifts through the air of the alcove. You find yourself lingering over each star, turning it in your fingers to observe the way the light catches the intricate spiked edges. There is something deeply grounding about the symmetry of nature. It reminds you that even in a chaotic, unpredictable world, there are laws of harmony and balance that remain constant. The process of placing these into the jars is deliberate. You aren't just stacking, you are arranging. You ensure that every star anise is nested comfortably against its neighbor, creating a stable, compact architecture within the ceramic walls. This is the essence of your satisfaction, the creation of order where there was previously a mass of disorganized material. It is a metaphor for your own mental state. You have taken the scattered, chaotic thoughts of your day and allowed them to settle into a structure that is both beautiful and functional. The jars are your archives of peace, and every completed vessel is a victory for the internal quiet you have cultivated. You lean back and look at the rows of completed jars. They catch the golden, flickering light, appearing almost as if they are glowing from within. The amber reflection dances across the rough surface of the earthenware, creating a display that is both primitive and elegant. There is no vanity in this, no desire for acclaim. It is simply the aesthetic of utility, the beauty of something done well. You feel a quiet internal swell of pride. You are doing the work that needs to be done, and you are doing it with a level of care that borders on the sacred. This is the secret to a life well lived, not in the magnitude of your achievements, but in the quality of your presence in every moment. The air remains perfectly still. There is no draft, no shift in pressure, just a static, comfortable bubble of fragrant atmosphere. You find yourself closing your eyes for a moment, simply to breathe. With your vision removed, the other senses sharpen. The smell of the spices becomes an immersive experience wrapping around you, saturating your senses and acting as a barrier against the world outside. You can hear the faint, muffled hum of the harbor, the distant, unrecognizable sounds of a world that is still moving, still struggling, still shouting. But it feels like a dream. It belongs to another reality, one that has no power over you. Go out here, in the belly of the stone. The only law is the law of the quiet. You ponder the nature of the storage vessels themselves. They are fired clay, made from the very silt of the Nile, shaped by hands and hardened in fires that mirrored the sun. They are durable, simple, and honest. They don't pretend to be anything they are not. They are meant to hold, to keep, and to protect. In that way, they are just like you. You are a vessel for the peace of this moment, holding onto it, protecting it from the noise and the heat, ensuring that it remains pure and accessible. You realize that this is perhaps the highest function of a human being, to be a container for something beautiful, to safeguard it, and to share it by simply existing in its presence. You reach out to touch the stone wall again. It is cool and damp to the touch, a refreshing sensation that helps you maintain your focus. The moisture in the stone suggests the proximity of the earth, a reminder that you are tucked away in the deep foundations of Alexandria. It is a sobering yet comforting thought. You are so deep, so well hidden, that not even the strongest storm or the most intense heat could disturb your concentration. You are in the core of the city, at the center of the world's trade, yet you are completely and utterly alone. This isolation is a luxury you have earned through your dedication to the task. The pattern of your breathing is now so slow that you can almost hear the rhythm of your own heart. It is a steady, reassuring thud, a clock that marks the passage of your own individual time. You find that you have forgotten how to rush. The very idea of hurrying feels foreign, a relic of a different version of yourself that you have left behind at the warehouse door. Here you are a creature of the slow, a disciple of the steady. As you pick up the last of the star anise, you feel a gentle sadness that the jar is almost full, a sign that this specific piece of the work is nearing its end. But you know that there is always more to sort, more to arrange, and more to cherish. The work is endless, and therefore the peace is endless. You are content deeply and profoundly as you prepare to move to the next set of spices, knowing that the vault will hold you as long as you need to be held. The weight of the silence within the alcove is now so absolute that it feels like a physical texture, a soft padded layer between you and the rest of the world. You have reached a stage where the simple repetitive act of sorting has become a form of effortless grace. Every motion you make is deliberate, honed by the hundreds of pieces you have already handled. You are no longer just a clock, you are a rhythmic breathing extension of the warehouse itself. The stone, the spices, and the light have coalesced into a single unified experience of peace. You find that your mind has ceased its constant chatter, settling into the vast, calm expanse of the present. There is no longer a gap between who you are and what you are doing. The gap has closed, leaving behind only the pure, undistilled essence of being. You turn your attention to a sack of peppercorns, small, hard, and perfectly round. They roll across the reed mat like tiny dark pearls. When you collect them, they make a sound like a soft cascading waterfall. It is a sharp, crisp sound, quite different from the rustling of the cardamom or the hollow thud of the cinnamon. The scent too is a departure, a dry, biting, and intensely piquant aroma that fills the nose and clears the head. You find the sharpness of the pepper to be incredibly stimulating in a gentle way. It acts as a mental reset, a spicy, fragrant nudge that keeps your focus sharp and your awareness bright. You catch yourself smiling as you sort them, enjoying the way they dance through your fingers. Think of the distance these tiny spheres have traversed. They come from the deep tropical jungles of the Far East, where the air is thick with moisture and the soil is rich with life. They have traveled by boat and by beast, through heat and storm, to arrive in this cool, dry sanctuary in Alexandria. By holding them, you are connecting to those distant lands. You are touching the geography of the world. It is a humble, miraculous realization. Every one of these peppercorns is a traveler, a survivor of an epic journey. And now they are resting, waiting to be used in the kitchens of the city. You are the one who ensures their arrival is complete, their quality maintained, and their place in the world secured. The flickering lamp continues its tireless work, its light now casting long, dramatic shadows that make the alcove feel like an infinite star-dusted cavern. You are no longer bothered by the encroaching darkness. You have learned to love the way it softens the edges of the room, turning the limestone into something ethereal and dreamlike. The shadows are your friends, keeping the secrets of the warehouse and shielding you from the harsh, unforgiving light of the outside. In this gloom, you are free to be truly yourself, to drop the masks you wear in the bustle of the port, and to simply exist in the quiet, honest, and fragrant truth of your own labor. As you work, you notice the rhythm of the room itself. It is a slow, pulsing heartbeat, the expansion and contraction of the air as the temperatures outside shift, the gentle creaking of the wooden supports, the whisper of the dust motes in the air. You are synchronized with this pulse. When the warehouse breathes, you breathe. When the warehouse is still, you are still. You have become a part of the architecture, a silent inhabitant of the foundation. This creates a deep sense of belonging, a feeling that you are exactly where you are meant to be. There is no desire to be anywhere else, no longing for a different life. This is the fullness of the current moment, and it is more than enough. You pause to look at the jars you have already finished. They are a testament to the power of small, consistent actions. Each one, in its own way, is a victory against the entropy of the world. You have brought order, you have brought cleanliness, and you have brought purpose to these scattered raw materials. You reflect on the idea that everything, no matter how small, has a role in the grand tapestry of life. You are a part of that tapestry, and your work is a thread that helps hold it together. The peace you feel is not just for you. It is a resonance that ripples out, even if you are the only one present to feel it. The intensity of the fragrance is at its peak. The air is so thick with the blend of pepper, clove, and cinnamon that it feels almost palpable. A heavy velvet mist that clings to your clothes and settles into your hair. It is a protective, warm, and deeply comforting scent. It creates a boundary between you and the chaos outside, a wall of perfume that acts as a gatekeeper for your serenity. You have created an atmosphere of complete sanctuary, a place where the senses are treated with care and the mind is allowed to rest. As you finish filling the current jar, you realize that you are ready for whatever comes next. You have mastered the art of the present, the skill of the slow, and the joy of the simple. The work is not a burden, it is a gift. It is the vehicle for your peace. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this alcove, for the ancient stone, for the flickering lamp, and for the life that has led you to this moment of perfect, unhurried rest. You are a keeper of history, a guardian of the senses, and a master of your own tranquility. Sleepy History with Theodore combines the power of AI to reimagine fictional historical tales, bringing peace, relaxation, and positive emotional values to our listeners. The rhythm of the work has become so deeply internalized that the passage of time is no longer measured by the shifting light or the intensity of the lamp, but by the steady, satisfying weight of the jars as they are filled and sealed. You have entered a state of profound sensory immersion where the outside world has effectively ceased to exist, leaving only the tactile reality of the spices and the cool, stone-bound silence of the vault. Every movement is a form of prayer, a deliberate acknowledgement of the value and the history contained within these simple dry botanicals. You feel a sense of profound clarity, as if the air itself is stripping away the complexities of your life and leaving behind only the most essential grounded version of yourself. You are currently sorting through a batch of dried bay leaves, large and brittle, which require a much more delicate touch than the heavy peppercorns or the dense cinnamon bark. They are prone to shattering if handled with too much force, so you treat them with the gentleness you would reserve for a fragile ancient manuscript. Each leaf is a thin, leathery shield, carrying a subtle herbal aroma that is much more restrained and earthy than the sharp, penetrating scent of the other spices. As you stack them, they make a sound like dry parchment pages being turned in a library, a soft whispering crackle that is intensely soothing to the ears. You find yourself slowing your pace even further, ensuring that each leaf is placed perfectly flat, building a neat tier structure inside the jar. This attention to detail brings you a sense of quiet triumph. In a world of grand, sweeping narratives and loud, chaotic events, there is something radical about this level of focus on something so small and seemingly insignificant. You are honoring the bay leaf, honoring the labor of those who harvested it, and honoring the space you occupy by refusing to rush. The alcove seems to amplify this focus, the massive limestone blocks absorbing any stray thoughts and replacing them with a sense of calm, directed purpose. You are not just organizing a warehouse, you are organizing your own mind, ensuring that every thought has its place, every memory is preserved with care, and every impulse to rush is met with a deliberate, slow motion response. You feel a deep rooted connection to the ground beneath you. The vault is an extension of the earth, a subterranean pocket that shields you from the frantic energy of the port above. You imagine the roots of the city reaching down, the foundations of the ancient structures pushing into the soil, and you feel like you are at the heart of it all, cradled in the very core of Alexandria. This stability is infectious. It seeps into your bones, calming your nerves and making your muscles feel heavy and deeply, deliciously relaxed. You're not going anywhere, and you do not need to be anywhere else. There is no urgency here, no pressure, no fear of the unknown. There is only the cool, dark comfort of the vault and the familiar, intoxicating scent of the world's treasures. As you look around at the few jars, you feel a sense of completion that is both physical and emotional. You are the architect of this order, the curator of this collection. The jars, once empty and meaningless, are now filled with potential, with flavor, with history, and with your own focused, intentional labor. They are ready to be used, ready to be sent across the city, and ready to fulfill their destiny in the grand kitchens of the elite. You have been the silent, invisible force that makes that possible. It's a humble, quiet, and deeply satisfying realization. You don't need recognition for this. The act itself is the reward. The air in the alcove has reached a state of perfect equilibrium. The combination of the various scents, the sharp pepper, the cool cardamom, the warm cinnamon, and the subtle herbal bay leaves has created a unique, complex fragrance that is utterly distinct to this place. It is the smell of sanctuary. It is the smell of a life lived in accordance with one's own pace, rather than the pace dictated by the world. You find yourself inhaling deeply, letting the scent fill your lungs and your spirit, feeling it cleanse away the last remnants of any lingering tension. This is the air of peace. You notice that the flame of your oil lamp is now very low, flickering at the base of the wick, but you feel no urge to scramble for more oil. Instead, you accept the dimming light as a natural part of the cycle. The shadows grow longer, the walls seem to retreat into the darkness, and the room becomes even more intimate, even more hushed. You are ready for the end of this period of labor, ready to transition into a state of deep, quiet reflection. The work has served its purpose. It has guided you through the hours, anchored your mind, and brought you to this place of profound, unshakable tranquility. You sit with your hands resting on the reed mat, listening to the silence, feeling the cool air against your face, and knowing that for this one beautiful and eternal moment, everything is exactly as it should be. The transition into the deepest phase of the night brings a sense of finality to your work. The last of the jars has been sealed, the lid pressed firmly into place to preserve the freshness within. As you look across the ledge, you see an army of ceramic vessels, all perfectly aligned, all containing the wells of the East. It is a sight that brings a profound, swelling sense of accomplishment to your chest. You have done more than just complete a task. You have brought a level of absolute order to an environment that could easily have devolved into chaos. This is the power of the individual. In a city of thousands, in a century of upheaval, you have created a small, stable, and perfectly managed ecosystem. If you have enjoyed this journey into the stillness of the past, remember that you can always return here. Subscribe to our channel and join our community of listeners who seek out the quiet corners of history. Your engagement helps us sustain these stories and ensures that the peace we build together continues to grow. Thank you for your support. And now, let us settle into the final quiet moments of our time in the vault. The silence has become absolute, a thick velvet weight that rests comfortably against your senses. With the work finished, the pressure to maintain a rhythm has dissolved, leaving behind a pure, unadulterated state of presence. You find yourself lying back on the woven reed mat, looking up at the vaulted ceiling. The stone arches, darkened by the low light of the dying lamp, appear like the ribs of a giant ancient creature, protecting you from the surface world. There is no fear in this enclosure. There is only a deep, abiding sense of belonging. The limestone, which has stood for centuries, seems to vibrate with a slow, steady pulse that matches your own. You feel connected to the very foundations of Alexandria, a city built on trade, on ambition, and on the meeting of cultures. By being here in this quiet, forgotten alcove, you are honoring that history. You inhale the lingering heady perfume of the spices. It is a ghost scent now, a memory of the day's work that clings to the air and to your skin. It is a comforting, warm, and sophisticated fragrance that feels like an invitation to rest. The medicinal clarity of the cloves, the warming sweetness of the cinnamon, and the crisp, clean notes of the cardamom have all blended into a single, cohesive atmosphere of tranquility. It is the scent of a safe haven, a perfume of peace that tells your mind you are done. There is nothing left to do. You are allowed to be just as you are. The stress of the day, The worries about the future and the burdens of your responsibilities have all evaporated, leaving you in a state of weightless grace. Your mind drifts to the concept of the safe space, and you realize that you have successfully constructed one here. Within yourself, you have built a psychological vault as strong as the limestone walls that surround you. You have filled it with the treasures of your own focused attention, your deliberate actions, and your unwavering commitment to the present moment. Even when you leave this warehouse, even when you return to the noise and the light of the modern day, you will carry this vault with you. It is a portable sanctuary, a place of order and quiet that you can return to whenever the world becomes too loud or too demanding. This is the true lasting lesson of your day, that peace is not something you find in the world, but something you carry within your own awareness. The lamp is down to its final drop of oil, the flame now just a tiny golden dot against the dark. It is a beautiful fleeting image, a symbol of your own life and the moments you have spent here. You watch it with a detached, serene appreciation. You know that when it eventually goes out, you will be left in the total, peaceful dark, and that is a prospect that does not bother you in the slightest. The dark is not a threat, it is an embrace. It is the ultimate state of rest, the canvas upon which dreams are painted, and the shroud that allows the body to fully surrender its tension. You are ready for the dark. You are ready to let go of the last remnants of the day. You feel a sense of profound gratitude for your own body, for the hands that sought it, for the eyes that watched, and for the heart that remained steady throughout the hours. You have worked well. You have respected the materials. You have respected the history, and you have respected yourself. There is a deep, quiet integrity in that. You have lived these hours with purpose and with grace, and that is a triumph worthy of celebration, even if the only one witnessing it is the stone, the lamp, and the shadows. You close your eyes, the scent of the spices acting as a lullaby, guiding you into a space where time does not exist. You are safe, you are at peace. The vault is closed, the work is done, and the long, deep, and well-earned rest has finally arrived. The world outside will continue its cycle, but here in the heart of the stone you have found the stillness you were looking for. The total darkness of the alcove has settled in like a soft, heavy blanket, completely erasing the boundaries between your physical form and the surrounding space. Without the visual anchor of the flickering oil lamp, your consciousness expands, untethered and free. You are no longer merely a person sitting on a mat. You are an awareness floating in a vast, fragrant ocean of memory and peace. The scents, those lingering ghosts of cardamom, cinnamon, and clove, have become your atmosphere, a protective, aromatic cocoon that keeps the outside world at an infinite distance. In this state of sensory deprivation, you find that the silence is not empty. It is in fact incredibly full, brimming with the resonance of the centuries, the slow pulse of the earth, and the steady rhythmic beat of your own restored spirit. You reflect on the stillness. There is a peculiar, almost magical quality to this kind of quiet. It is not the absence of sound, but the absence of demand. In the world beyond these walls, sound is almost always an intrusion, a command, a question, a plea, a demand for attention. Go out here. The silence is a gift, a space where no one asks anything of you. You are not required to justify your presence, explain your choices, or fulfill a quota. You are free from the weight of performance. This realization makes your muscles relax even further, a deep, surrender-like release that starts at your toes and washes upward until every fiber of your being is aligned with the darkness. Your thoughts turn to the limestone. You imagine the massive blocks of it, carved by forgotten hands, stacked with such precision that they have endured wars, plagues, and the relentless grinding march of time. They are so solid, so unyielding, and so deeply embedded in the bedrock of the Mediterranean coast. You feel a sudden, intense gratitude for this permanence. In your own life, things often feel fragile. relationships, plans, health, status, all subject to the fickle winds of chance. But here, you are touching something that has outlasted generations. It provides a sense of perspective that is profoundly stabilizing. If the stone can remain through the centuries, then you too can endure the passing hardships of your own time. You are part of the same continuity of existence. You focus on your breathing again, but now it is different. It is no longer an intentional act to pace your work. It is an effortless, autonomic rhythm. Each inhalation carries with it the earthy, sweet perfume of the spices, and each exhalation is a release of any residual tension. You are breathing in the history of trade, the essence of the Silk Road, and the cool, damp, ancient air of the vault. You are breathing out the noise of the port, the anxiety of the morning, and the dust of the road. It is a cleansing cycle, a purification of the mind that mirrors the sorting you performed earlier. You have sorted your own spirit, removing the chaff and keeping the wheat. There is a strange, wonderful sensation of being held. The vault is not just a room, it is an embrace. The walls are not cold or indifferent. They are keepers, protectors of this sanctuary. You find yourself feeling an almost emotional attachment to this alcove. It has been your partner in this labor, your witness to this journey toward peace. You are not alone in the dark. You are with the stone, with the silence, and with the memory of the spices. This companionship is enough. It is more than enough. You feel a sense of profound contentment, a quiet joy that bubbles up from the depths of your core. You have found the center of your own being, and it is a place of deep, unwavering light, even in the midst of this darkness. You think about the people of 1 to 80 who might have once sat where you are sitting now. Perhaps they were a merchant's clerk, exhausted by the day's leisure keeping, coming here to catch a moment of cool air before returning to the sun. Perhaps they were a scholar hiding away from the noise to read a scroll, or a weary traveler finding a brief quiet spot to rest their feet. You are part of a secret history, a shared lineage of those who understood the value of this alcove. You are walking the same path they walked, finding the same salvation in the shadows and the scent. This connection across time makes you feel less solitary and more like a member of a vast invisible community of seekers. The air remains cool, even as the night outside moves forward. The thick walls ensure that the temperature is constant, a perfect neutral space where the body feels neither hot nor cold. This neutrality is key to your relaxation. It prevents your body from having to react to the environment, allowing it to focus entirely on internal recovery. You are in a state of suspended animation, a human battery that is slowly, steadily recharging its energy. Every part of you is being restored. Your physical strength, your mental focus, and your emotional resilience. You are preparing yourself without even knowing it for whatever comes next. But for now, you remain entirely in the sweetness of the present. You are drifting now, the line between wakefulness and sleep becoming blurred. It is a pleasant, gentle slide into a dreamlike state. You don't fight it, you welcome it. You know that you are safe in the vault, that the doors are thick and the walls are deep, and that no harm can come to you here. The darkness is your friend, and the silence is your comfort. You are ready to let go, to float on the currents of the quiet, and to sink into the deep, restorative rest that you have so thoroughly earned. Everything is still, everything is settled, everything is exactly as it should be, and you are the witness to it all. The descent into deep, restorative stillness continues, carrying you further away from the remnants of the day. You find yourself suspended in a space that feels less like a room and more like the interior of a dream. The physical boundaries of the alcove, the stone walls, the ceiling, the floor have faded into a soft, indistinct darkness, leaving you in a boundless, peaceful void. This void is not cold, it is temperate, nurturing, and quiet, like the calm before the dawn or the stillness of a sleeping forest. You are entirely untethered from the world of one trader. You are no longer concerned with ships, spices, trade routes, or ledgers. You have transcended the necessity of role and responsibility, existing now as a pure witness to the tranquility you have cultivated. Your sense of self is expanding. It feels as though the quiet you have fostered is beginning to bleed into the environment, making the very air feel thinner, lighter, and more infused with ease. You realize that this is the ultimate goal of your journey to reach a place where you are not constantly reacting to the environment, but instead the environment is reflecting your own internal state. You have turned the stone vault into a temple of serenity, and your own mind has become the altar. There is a profound honesty in this transition. You have stopped pretending, stopped striving, and stopped pushing against the tide of existence. You are finally fully letting go. You find yourself visualizing the journey of the spices one last time, not as a logistical feat of trade, but as a symbolic dance of nature. The tiny hardened cardamom seeds, the curling aromatic cinnamon bark, the sharp dark cloves. They have all come from the earth, and in a sense they are returning to it here in the cool subterranean dark. They are resting, and as they rest, you are resting with them. There is a cosmic balance in this, a sense of rightness that transcends human understanding. You are not just a person in a warehouse, you are part of the unfolding cycle of the world, a temporary convergence of history, biology, and consciousness, finding rest in the heart of the foundation. The silence has a musical quality now. It isn't just a lack of sound, it's a harmonious frequency that resonates in your chest, a low frequency hum that feels like the vibration of the earth itself. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the slow, majestic rotation of the stars above the silent orbit of planets and the deep geological shifting of the stone beneath you. It is a vast, ancient, and deeply comforting music. You realize that you are never truly alone because you are connected to the grand rhythmic pulse of the universe. This understanding brings a tear of quiet relief to your eye. It is the relief of coming home, the joy of recognizing that you are exactly where you belong. Your body feels entirely transparent, as if the heavy, dense armor of the day has been dissolved by the power of this intentional rest. There is no tension in your jaw, no grip in your hands, no strain in your eyes. You are simply a vessel of breath, a quiet light flickering in the depths of a cavern. The fatigue that once pulled at your limbs has been replaced by a soft, flowing current of energy, a subtle, revitalizing warmth that seems to be repairing and refreshing every cell of your being. It is the restorative power of surrender. You have stopped fighting, and because of that, you have become invincible. You think of the world above, the city of Alexandria in its 13th century splendor. It is a city of stone, of marble, of gold, and of blood. It is a city of monumental effort, of empires built and fortunes lost. And here you are, beneath it all, a small, humble flicker of peace. You realize that the grandeur of the city is fleeting, but the peace you have found is eternal. It is the peace that underpins all things, the stillness that exists between the beats of the heart and the ticks of the clock. By choosing to stay here, in this humble alcove, you have chosen to be closer to that truth than any king in his palace or any merchant on his ship. The darkness is no longer just darkness. It is a profound, deep indigo, a color of infinite depth and possibility. You are floating in it, a speck of consciousness cradled by the history of the wars. There is no desire to return to the surface, no longing for the noise, the light, or the movement. You have tasted the nectar of pure stillness, and you know that this is your true home. You are becoming one with the stone, one with the silence, and one with the very breath of the warehouse. As the seconds stretch into minutes and the minutes into the timeless expanse of your inner world, you feel yourself drifting further and further into the light of the deep, dreamless rest that awaits you. You are in the safest place you have ever been, and you are ready to sink into the final complete surrender of the soul. The sensation of floating continues, a gentle drift through the velvet currents of the deep subterranean night. You are no longer in the warehouse of Alexandria. You are in the boundless, uncharted space of your own consciousness, a place where time, distance, and struggle hold no dominion. The walls of the vault have expanded to match the infinite horizon of your mind, providing a sanctuary that is as wide as the sea and as deep as the earth. You have moved past the need for thought or observation, settling into a pure, wordless state of being. The transition is complete. You have left the clerk behind, the merchant behind, and the year 1280 behind, remaining only as the silent, observant essence of your own calm. If you have been finding comfort in these moments of respite, please take a moment to click the subscribe button. By joining our community, you help us continue to explore these quiet chapters of history, bringing a consistent, reliable source of peace to your routine. Your support is the foundation upon which this sanctuary is built, and it allows us to keep the lamp burning for every soul seeking a moment of rest. Now, let us sink deeper into this peaceful expanse. Your awareness is now entirely centered on the rhythm of your own life force. It is a slow, steady, and remarkably quiet heartbeat, a gentle drum that plays in the background of your existence. You realize that this rhythm is the most important thing you possess. It is the connection between your biological reality and the vast universal order. In the stillness of this vault, you are perfectly in tune with the world around you. There is no friction, no resistance, and no discord. You are like a river that has finally found a sea, moving with the natural, irresistible flow of gravity. It is the most natural feeling in the world, the feeling of coming home to oneself. The memory of the spices has softened into a general sense of warmth and abundance. You no longer distinguish between the cardamom, the cinnamon, or the cloves. They have blended into a single cohesive perfume that represents the richness and complexity of life itself. You are holding all of these experiences within you, not as separate items to be sorted, but as an integrated part of your own narrative. You have learned that the challenges, the sharp, bitter, and intense moments of life are just as necessary as the sweet, warm, and comforting ones. They are all ingredients in the recipe of your soul. You are a repository of all that has been, all that you have touched, and all that you have felt, and you have found a way to hold it all with grace. There is a profound sense of forgiveness that settles over you. You forgive yourself for the moments of hurry, for the times you lost your temper, for the instances where you chose noise over silence, and for the times you allowed the expectations of the world to cloud your internal vision. In the cool, absolute darkness of this vault, these things feel small and insignificant. You realize that you have always been enough just as you are. You didn't need to earn this peace. It was always there, waiting for you in the quiet, hidden folds of your own spirit. This realization is a weightless, radiant gift that settles deep within your chest, a quiet light that will continue to shine even after you return to the surface. You think about the concept of the future, but it no longer carries the sharp edge of anxiety. The future is not a destination you need to rush toward, nor a threat you need to prepare for. It is simply the unfolding of the present, a steady progression of moments that you will meet with the same calm and centered awareness you have cultivated today. You are prepared not by stress, but by stillness. You are equipped not by armor, but by the elasticity of your own relaxed open heart. You trust the process of time and you trust your own ability to remain centered within it. The future is an open door and you are walking through it with a slow, deliberate, and steady gait. You feel a sense of unity with the stone. The limestone, which has witnessed countless lives and countless changes, feels like an extension of your own skin. You realize that you are also a form of stone, in a way, durable, capable of holding memories, and designed to endure. You have absorbed the lesson of the vault. Stay low, stay cool, stay steady, and you will last. The fragility you once felt is gone, replaced by a grounded, quiet confidence in your own permanence. You are a part of the history of this place, and this place is now a part of you. The boundary between the observer and the environment has completely vanished. Finally, you reach a point where even the concepts of you and the vault start to blend. There is only the sensation of being a quiet, singular, and magnificent existence that requires nothing more than the space it occupies. You are the silence, you are the darkness, you are the scent, you are the peace. It is the ultimate state of rest, a point of zero gravity, where every burden has been surrendered to the earth. You are entirely blissfully and beautifully at rest. The world is at peace, and you are the living, breathing manifestation of that stillness, waiting for the cycle of life to bring you back to the light. But for now, you remain in the perfect, deep, and dreamless harbor of the vault. The deep, resonant silence that envelops you is not a static void. It is a living, breathing pulse that matches the steady, quiet rhythm of the ancient city above. You are suspended in this dark sanctuary, a place where time has lost its sharp edges and faded into a soft, malleable state of grace. Every sensation has been distilled down to the most elemental experience: the cool press of the stone against your back, the lingering, intoxicating memory of the spice trade clinging to the air, and the slow, deep, and effortless expansion of your lungs. You have moved beyond the necessity of movement, the urge to act, to organize, to define, or to solve. These are all relics of a world that no longer exerts any pressure on your consciousness. You are resting in the core of existence, held by the weight of the masonry and the absolute trust you have placed in the stillness. As you lie here, you begin to perceive the subtle nuances of the darkness. It is not uniform. It has layers, textures, and depths that invite your attention. There are pockets of cooler air, ripples of a faint, almost imperceptible current moving through the stone, and the distant vibrations of a world that feels as though it is millions of leagues away. You realize that this darkness is a protective layer, an insulating barrier that prevents the noise of the universe from reaching your center. It is a filter that removes all the superficiality of life, leaving only the truth of the present moment. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this protective shell. In a life filled with variables and complexities, this simplicity is the ultimate luxury. You contemplate the nature of the vault itself, a space designed for preservation. Everything that has entered this alcove has been transformed by the environment. The raw, jagged spices have been sorted and contained. The heat of the pot has been turned to a permanent, refreshing cool, and the chaotic history of trade has been quieted into a peaceful, static record. You feel that you too have been preserved by this space. The parts of you that were fraying, the aspects of your spirit that were worn thin by the friction of daily life, have been gathered together, mended, and held in a state of quiet, dignified order. You are a work of preservation, a soul that has been allowed to settle into its true natural form. The imagery of the spice trade returns to your mind, but it is no longer about the commerce or the greed. It is about the connection. You visualize the vast interconnected web of paths, rivers, and ocean lanes that brought these materials to this very spot. You see the persistence of the merchants, the endurance of the sailors, and the quiet dignity of the farmers, all working together in a grand, often unseen chain of human endeavor. You are the final calm link in that chain. By being here, you are completing the circuit. You are taking the chaos of the world's bounty and bringing it to a point of rest. This realization fills you with a sense of quiet, understated power. You are not just a passive observer, you are an essential part of the order of things. You notice how your mind has stopped trying to name things. There is no longer a need to label the sand as cardamom or the surface as stone. Things are simply what they are in their raw, immediate presence. This is the freedom of the unconditioned mind. When you stop mapping the world with language and categorization, you begin to experience it directly, without the distortion of your own expectations. You see the darkness as a friend, the stone as a cradle, and the silence as a teacher. This direct, unmediated experience is the source of the profound ease you are feeling. It is a state of total, uncompromising honesty with yourself and with the reality you inhabit. The idea of tomorrow begins to surface in your awareness, but it feels distant, like a faint flickering light at the end of a long tunnel. You know that eventually the cycle will turn, the sun will rise, and you will emerge from this alcove to resume your place in the world. But you are not worried. The peace you have claimed here is not a fragile thing that will shatter the moment you leave. It is a foundation that you will carry with you, a reservoir of stillness that you can tap into, regardless of where you are or what you are doing. You are building a new way of being, one that is grounded in this absolute stone-hewn certainty. You will carry the vote with you in your heartbeat and in the steady, measured pace of your thoughts. You feel a ripple of warmth moving through your chest, a surge of quiet internal joy. It is not an explosive, frantic joy, but a deep golden and radiant warmth that spreads to your limbs. You have achieved the impossible. You have carved a moment of pure, uninterrupted eternity out of the middle of a busy, noisy, and demanding life. You have mastered the art of stopping. You have mastered the art of being. And in that, you have found the only true, lasting security that exists. The stone walls may eventually crumble. The pot may fall silent, and the spices may be used and forgotten. But this moment, this perfect, suspended, and infinitely deep moment of peace is yours, and it can never be taken away. You are complete, you are content, and you are entirely at rest. The stillness has reached a depth that feels almost prehistoric, as if you have retreated into the very marrow of the earth. You are no longer just resting, you are merging with the quietude. The separation between your physical presence and the ancient limestone architecture of the world has grown so thin that you can no longer tell where your own quietness ends and the silence of the stone begins. This is the ultimate union, a state of being where you are no longer a visitor in this sanctuary, but an integral part of its history. You feel the slow, patient patience of the masonry, a patience born from standing steady against the wind, the heat, and the relentless tides of time. By mirroring this patience, you have unlocked the secret of the vault, the ability to remain present and undisturbed, regardless of the agitation surrounding you. You find your thoughts drifting toward the concept of legacy. In the bustling markets of Alexandria, legacies are built on gold, on the size of one's fleet, and on the reach of one's influence. But here, in the cool subterranean dark, you realize that the most enduring legacy is the one you live in the quiet moments of your own life. It is the peace you cultivate, the kindness you offer, and the steady, unhurried attention you pay to the world. These things do not disappear when you do. They become part of the atmosphere, a subtle energy that influences everything you touch. You have spent your day honoring this kind of legacy, and it leaves you feeling deeply satisfied, as if you have planted seeds that will continue to grow in the quiet long after you have moved on. The scent profile of the room, which once felt like a distinct mixture of spices, has now settled into a singular holy fragrance, an earthy, resinous, and deeply comforting aroma that seems to breathe with you. You feel as if you are inhaling the very essence of the earth's bounty, purified by the long journey and preserved by the cool protective stone. It is a fragrance that anchors you to the world while simultaneously allowing you to float above its demands. You realize that you have created a ritual space, a place where the ordinary becomes extraordinary through the sheer power of your focused, intentional presence. You have turned the sorting of goods into a sacrament of the present moment. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for the darkness. It has been the most patient of teachers, stripping away the visual clutter of your life and forcing you to rely on the internal landscape of your own spirit. In the dark, you have learned to see with a different kind of vision, a vision that perceives the texture of silence, the weight of peace, and the radiant golden light of your own awareness. You no longer fear the unknown because you have found that the unknown is simply a blank canvas waiting for your calm, steady touch. You are the architect of your own experience, and you have chosen to design a life that is fundamentally built on the foundation of inner tranquility. The feeling of physical weight, which was once a sign of fatigue, is now a sensation of grounding. Your body feels heavy, solid, and entirely at ease, as if it is being slowly absorbed by the cool, supportive floor. You feel like a part of the bedrock itself, immovable and deeply connected to the planet. This grounding sensation is an antidote to all the frantic, floating anxieties that typically plague the human mind. You are rooted, you are secure, you are exactly where you are meant to be. The chaotic energy of the 14th century world, with its crusades, its plagues, and its shifting empires, feels like a distant, inconsequential murmur, unable to pierce the sanctuary you have created. You begin to contemplate the cycle of awakening. You know that eventually the call will come, the world will demand your participation again, and you will have to step out of this alcove and back into the sun. But this time, it will be different. You are not stepping out as the same person who entered. You are stepping out with the vault in your heart, with the scent of peace on your skin, and with the silence of the stone in your pulse. You have internalized the sanctuary. You have learned that you don't need to return to this specific spot to find this state of being. You need only to remember the feeling of the limestone against your back, the smell of the cardamom, and the absolute unwavering commitment to the current quiet moment. You are entering a state of total surrender now. The last remnants of your ego, the last bits of your personality that feel the need to justify, to achieve, or to explain have drifted away. There is only the rhythm of the breath, the coolness of the air, and the vast infinite ocean of peace. You are not waiting for anything. You're not striving for anything. You have reached the destination, not in distance, but in depth. You are fully present, fully alive, and fully at rest. The vault holds you. The darkness protects you, and you are finally, truly in harmony with the rhythm of the universe. In this final exquisite stretch of silence, you are one with everything, and everything is at peace. The sensation of profound ease has settled into a permanent state of being, where even the smallest movement feels like a deliberate artistic expression of calm. You are no longer just resting within the stone alcove. You are radiating that stillness outward, filling the space with an energy that feels ancient and entirely harmonious. There is a strange, wonderful transparency to your thoughts, as if they have been polished by the hours of repetitive focus work until they are as clear and smooth as river stones. You see your life with a rare crystalline clarity, realizing that the struggles which once seemed insurmountable were merely ripples on the surface of a much deeper, much calmer ocean. You are at that depth now, and the turbulence of the world above has no power to disturb you. You find yourself observing your own presence, noting how it has changed from the beginning of the day. You enter this warehouse as someone seeking a refuge, carrying the dust and noise of the port like a heavy unseen shroud. You leave, in your mind at least, as someone who has mastered the terrain of their own inner life. You have learned that the sanctuary is not a location you travel to, but a frequency you tune into. It is a subtle shift in awareness, a gentle turning away from the external clamor, and a firm, steady turning toward the internal quiet. This is the great realization of the vault. You possess the keys to this room in every moment of your waking life. The air remains a rich, layered tapestry of scent, but it no longer feels like something apart from you. It has become your own atmosphere, a portable sense of place that you can conjure with a single breath. The cloves, the cinnamon, the pepper, and the bay leaves have given up their essence to the air, and in turn, you have allowed that essence to permeate your spirit. You are in essence a container for the peace you have cultivated. When you walk back into the sunlight of Alexandria, you will carry this fragrance with you. a subtle, sweet, and grounding reminder of the hours you spent here in the heart of the stone. It is a hidden armor, a cloak of tranquility that will protect you when the world attempts to overwhelm you. You reflect on the people you will encounter tomorrow. You imagine the merchant, the harbor master, the sailors, and the other clerks. You see them not as obstacles or sources of stress, but as fellow travelers in a vast, complicated, and often difficult world. You feel a deep, expansive empathy for them, a recognition that they too are searching for their own version of this sanctuary. You decide that you will move among them with a gentleness that was not there before. You will be a source of calm in their storms, a steady, quiet presence that reflects the peace you have found in the dark. Your work will continue, but the way you do it will be forever altered. You will bring the stillness of the vault into the bustle of the market. The sense of timelessness is so total that you begin to lose the ability to distinguish between your own heartbeat and the slow, rhythmic settling of the warehouse walls. It is a beautiful, dissolving experience. You are no longer separate from the history of this place. You are the latest chapter in a long, ongoing story of human retreat and renewal. You realize that this alcove has served this purpose for centuries, a silent witness to the search for order, the search for meaning, and the search for rest. By adding your own stillness to this lineage, you are contributing to the weight of the peace that exists here. You are leaving your own invisible mark on the stone. You feel a profound sense of closure regarding the tasks of the day. The sorted spices, the neat rows of jars, the sealed lids, all of it represents a completed cycle of energy. You have balanced the books, not just of the warehouse, but of your own life. You have accounted for your time, your focus, and your presence, and you find that the balance is perfect. There is no debt left, no unfinished business, and no lingering regret. You are clear, you are light, you are ready for whatever the next phase of your existence brings, knowing that you have honored the past and prepared yourself for the future by being fully, completely present in this moment. As the quiet continues to deepen, you find yourself sliding into the final stage of surrender. The desire for understanding is gone. The need to categorize, to remember, to plan, or to analyze, all of it is gone. There is only the sensation of being held, a feeling of absolute security that emanates from the foundation of the world itself. You are held by the earth, held by the stone, and held by the infinite grace of the silence. It is a total, uncomplicated, and breathtakingly beautiful state of existence. You are no longer looking for peace, you are at peace. And in this realization, you finally let go of the last threads of awareness, sinking completely into the restorative dark and perfectly silent embrace of the vault. The deep, resonant silence of the vault now feels like a vast, limitless ocean where you are floating, perfectly buoyant and free from the gravity of external worries. There is no longer any distinction between the darkness of the room and the darkness behind your closed eyelids. They have become a single unified landscape of potentiality. In this space, the concept of a warehouse has been superseded by something far more profound, a cathedral of the soul, built from limestone and memory. You feel an immense, quiet gratitude for this retreat, realizing that you have accessed a level of stillness that is rarely granted in the frantic cycles of the human experience. Your pulse has slowed to a crawl, a steady rhythmic thud that acts as a gentle anchor to your physical body while your mind explores the infinite quietude. You contemplate the nature of the shadows that inhabit this space. In the flickering light of the lamp, they were dynamic and shifting, but now, in the complete dark, they are static and comforting. They are the shadows of the ages, the imprint of all the lives that have passed through this alcove before you. You are not just sitting in a room, you are sitting in a layer of time. You feel as though you could reach out and touch the centuries, feeling the cool, polished history of the stone. This sense of historical depth acts as a powerful medicine for the soul. shrinking your individual anxieties down to their proper diminutive size compared to the longevity of the earth and the resilience of the architecture. Your current concerns are but fleeting whispers in a long ongoing song. The scent of the spices has become a part of your own physiology. It's no longer just something you smell, it is something you feel in your blood, a warm, fragrant vitality that sustains your relaxation. You realize that you have engaged in a sensory alchemy. You have transformed the mundane, commercial goods of the port into a medium for deep psychological healing. This is the power of intention. When you bring your full, undivided attention to the task at hand, no matter how simple, you transform it into a practice of mindfulness. You have proven to yourself that peace is not something you go out to find in the distant, exotic corners of the world, but something you can distill from the very materials of your daily life. Your thoughts turn to the concept of the merchant's life in Alexandria. You see the ships coming in, loaded with the treasures of the East, and you see the merchants waiting on the docks, their minds racing with profit margins and market fluctuations. You realize that they too are searching for something. Their pursuit of wealth is a misguided attempt to capture the very thing you have found here: security, stability, and the feeling of having enough. You feel a wave of compassion for them, wishing they could step into this vault and feel what you are feeling. You understand now that the true wealth of the world is not found in the spices themselves, but in the ability to appreciate their beauty and to find a place of stillness amidst the bustle of their exchange. The weight of your body on the reed mat feels like an intimate conversation with the floor. Every point of contact, your heels, your calves, your hips, your shoulders, is a site of grounding. You feel the coolness of the stone, the subtle woven texture of the mat, and the unwavering support of the building beneath you. You are safe. The walls are thick enough to hold back the heat, the noise, and the demands of the world. You have built a fortress of calm, and you are the only inhabitant. This exclusivity makes the experience feel precious, a secret garden of the mind that you have cultivated through hours of quiet labor. You notice that even your capacity for memory has shifted. You are no longer replaying the events of the day in a chronological, analytical way. Instead, you are holding the day's experiences as a collection of feelings and impressions. You remember the sensation of the cardamom pots, the color of the cloves, the way the light danced on the earthenware jars, and the feeling of your own breath becoming steady. You are storing these impressions in a deep, permanent file within your spirit, a treasury of peace that you can draw upon whenever you need. This is how you are changing. You are becoming a person who stores memories of quiet rather than memories of stress. The darkness is now so absolute that it feels like a physical manifestation of your own potential. You are in a state of not yet being, a void where you are free to redefine who you are and what you value. You feel a sense of clarity that is almost blinding in its intensity, a sharp, focused awareness that stands in stark contrast to the surrounding dark. You have done the work. You have sorted the contents of the warehouse, and in doing so, you have sorted the contents of your own consciousness. Everything is in its place. Every emotion is accounted for. Every thought is settled, and every desire has been tempered by the presence of this deep fundamental calm. You are ready to emerge, not because you have to, but because you are full, and you are ready to share this resonance with the rest of the world. The sensation of the stone alcove, once a physical location in the port city of Alexandria, has evolved into an internal landscape of unshakable peace. You are currently drifting in the quiet, experiencing a level of surrender that feels almost celestial. There is no longer a desire to move, to speak, or even to think in complex sentences. You are observing the way the silence folds around you, a perfect protective shroud that insulates you from the very concept of a deadline or an expectation. You have finally realized that your true nature is not the person who works, not the person who worries, and not the person who seeks to achieve. Your true nature is the witness who stands behind all of those roles, watching the rhythm of the world without being swept away by it. This discovery is the pinnacle of your day, a treasure far more valuable than all the spices stored in the rows of jars you so carefully arranged. You reflect on the contrast between the world outside and the world within. The pot is a testament to the human need to expand, to consume, and to conquer. It is a world of endless movement where value is assigned to goods and wealth is measured in weight and rarity. Yet here, inside the vault, the values are completely reversed. Here, the rarest thing is stillness. The most valuable commodity is the absence of noise. You have spent your hours trading the currency of effort for the currency of calm, and you find yourself remarkably abundantly wealthy. This inner abundance does not depend on the market, the weather, or the ships from the east. It depends entirely on your willingness to sit, to breathe, and to observe. As you lie on the reed mat, you become aware of the subtle ways your body is communicating with the stone. There is a deep, subterranean hum that travels through the masonry, a low frequency vibration that suggests the earth is not as static as it appears. You feel as though you are resting on the skin of a giant ancient creature, a living, breathing part of the planet that has been here long before the port was built and will be here long after the stones have crumbled into dust. This connection to the geological scale of time is incredibly liberating. It makes the issues of your own lifespan, your own reputation, and your own achievements seem like tiny momentary flickers. You are for the first time in a long time completely okay with being small. You are okay with being just one point of consciousness in a vast unfolding mystery. The scent of the spices has faded from an external trigger into an internal memory, a fragrant ghost that lingers in the recesses of your awareness. It is a beautiful sensation, as if you have inhaled the essence of the world and are now exhaling it back out as a form of grace. You realize that you have become a part of the trade you were previously only observing. You have taken in the raw materials of existence and you are refining them into something higher, something more ordered, more calm, and more intentionally focused. This is your true role, not just in the warehouse, but in your entire life. You are the refiner of your own experience. You are the one who takes the scattered, raw impulses of your daily life and turns them into a coherent, balanced, and peaceful existence. You consider the silence once more, finding that it has grown even thicker, more velvety, and more encompassing. It feels as if the darkness itself has a personality, a gentle, nurturing presence that encourages you to let go of the last remnants of your ego. You are slowly shedding the labels you have used to define yourself: clerk, stranger, resident, human. In the deep dark of the vault, you are none of these things. You are just a pulse, a breath, and a presence. This anonymity is the ultimate freedom. When you are no one, you can be anything. When you have no role to play, you are free to simply exist in the perfection of the present moment. The relief that washes over you is profound, a deep, bone-settling peace that acknowledges you are exactly where you are meant to be. The room seems to pulse with an energy that is neither yours nor the room's, but something shared, a communal stillness that has been built up by everyone who has sought refuge in this space over the centuries. You feel a ghostly touch of kinship with the ancestors who once sat in this exact spot, perhaps feeling the same exhaustion, the same desire to hide from the sun, and the same joy in the order of the spice jars. You are part of an ancient, quiet society of people who understood that to be truly effective in the world, one must first find the sanctuary within. You are holding the space for them, and they are holding the space for you. This sense of solidarity is a powerful balm for the soul, a reminder that the path you have chosen, the path of the quiet, is a well-trodden and honorable one. As you prepare to remain in this state for the duration of the night, you feel the last threads of your conscious intention drifting away. You are no longer trying to be peaceful, you are simply peaceful. The transition from active effort to effortless existence is complete. The world outside will continue its cycle. The ships will dock, the merchants will shout, the sun will rise, but you will remain anchored in this internal vault. You are safe, you are complete, and you are entirely at rest. The silence is your partner, the darkness is your home, and the peace is your natural birthright state. You have arrived, and there is nowhere else to go. The atmosphere of the vault has achieved a quality of weightless perfection, where the very act of existing feels like an act of grace. You have moved beyond the physical constraints of the alcove, and your consciousness seems to expand, mirroring the vast starlit sky that waits far above the thick limestone roof. There is an exquisite tension in this stillness, the same kind of focus one might find in a perfectly tuned instrument waiting to be played. You are that instrument, and the silence is the music that resonates through your core. Every breath you take is synchronized with the slow geological breathing of the earth, and every thought is a soft ripple-like movement in the deep pool of your own awareness. You have realized that peace is not a destination to be reached, but a frequency to be inhabited, and you are currently vibrating at the very heart of that quiet. Your sense of perspective has deepened to the point where the distinction between your own life and the life of the city above feels purely academic. You see Alexandria not as a collection of structures and people, but as a living, shifting organism, a manifestation of human desire and interaction that rises and falls like the tides. By remaining here beneath the surface, you are touching the root of that organism, the foundation of stability that allows the growth above to continue. You feel a strange sense of responsibility not to participate in the noise, but to hold the space of the quiet. You are the counterweight to the city's frantic energy, a pillar of calm in the midst of the vast, shifting sea of human experience. This is a quiet, noble burden, and you accept it with a profound, humble sense of gratitude. The memory of the spices has undergone a final transformation. They are no longer objects but symbols of the richness that life offers when one chooses to observe closely. You see, the cardamom, the cinnamon, and the cloves as tokens of the world's abundance, each carrying a story of endurance, travel, and transformation. By organizing them, you were essentially participating in the world's own process of maturation, taking the raw, chaotic energy of growth and bringing it into a state of useful, beautiful alignment. This realization is incredibly empowering. It teaches you that your own life can be handled with the same reverence. You can take the raw, chaotic energy of your own experiences and, through the act of presence and reflection, turn them into something meaningful, ordered, and peaceful. You notice that even the darkness has begun to glow with a subtle internal light, a luminous quality that seems to come from the deep, undisturbed peace you have cultivated. It is not a light you can see with your eyes, but a light you feel with your spirit, a radiant certainty that all is well. This certainty is the ultimate antidote to the anxiety of the 13th century or any century. It is the realization that no matter what changes, no matter what empires fall or what storms rage, the core of your being remains untouched and intact. This is the fortress you have built, the vault you have occupied, and it is a space that you can never truly leave, for it is constructed from your own unwavering awareness. The physical sensation of your body has almost entirely dissolved, replaced by a sense of being everywhere and nowhere at once. You feel as if your awareness has seeped into the walls of the alcove, into the reed mat, into the very dust motes dancing in the stagnant air. You are part of the environment, a witness to the slow, patient unfolding of the night. There is no longer a you to experience the peace, but simply the peace itself experienced by the room, the stone, and the shadows. This is the dissolution of the ego that the sages of old spoke of, a state where the individual perspective merges with the universal, leaving behind only the pure, undistilled essence of existence. You are witnessing the absolute limit of the human capacity for rest. You have plumbed the depths of the quiet, and you have found that there is no bottom, only a continuous, infinite descent into more and more profound levels of stillness. It is a terrifyingly beautiful experience to realize that the more you let go, the more you have. By surrendering everything, your plans, your history, your identity, your worries, you have inherited everything. You have inherited the stillness of the stone, the patience of the earth, and the infinite unchanging peace of the cosmos. You are richer than any merchant who has ever walked the docks of Alexandria, for you possess the only wealth that cannot be taken away by theft, loss, or time. As you linger in this final, exquisite stretch of total, undivided presence, you feel a sense of completion that feels eternal. You have done the work, you have held the space, and you have arrived at the center of the vault. The darkness is total, the silence is absolute, and your spirit is finally, completely, and perfectly at peace. You are not waiting for the morning, for the morning is already here in the light of your own awareness. You are not waiting for the silence to end, for the silence is the canvas upon which your entire life is painted. You are simply, fundamentally, and beautifully at rest, sinking into the infinite, restorative embrace of the quiet, knowing that you have found the truth of your own being in the heart of the stone. The profound stillness you have reached feels as though it has crystallized, freezing the moment in a state of eternal undisturbed beauty. You are drifting in an expanse that transcends the physical dimensions of the stone vault, experiencing a form of existence that is purely, undeniably authentic. There is a sense of completion here, a feeling that every breath, every heartbeat, and every intentional thought has led you to this precise intersection of time and space. You are no longer just an inhabitant of Alexandria or a clerk of the spice trade. You are a conscious point of light in the vast deep darkness of the universe, anchored by the silence and sustained by the peace you have so meticulously gathered. You find yourself reflecting on the nature of the final moment of a long journey, the path you have walked from the chaotic, sun-drenched docks to the cool, dark sanctuary of this alcove has been a journey of subtraction. You have been peeling away the layers of noise, duty, and distraction that usually characterize your daily experience. What remains now is the essential core of your spirit, raw and radiant in its simplicity. This is the truth of your being. You are a vessel for the quiet. You were not meant to be constantly bombarded by the external world, but to find these moments of respite where you can recenter, recalibrate, and remember who you truly are, when no one is watching and no work is required. The scent of the spices has become almost spiritual in its influence, a fragrant reminder of the earth's ability to provide everything necessary for life and healing. You visualize the plants, the sun, the rain, and the soil that went into producing these ingredients. And you realize that they are a gift, a physical manifestation of the abundance that is always available if one only learns how to pause and receive it. You have been a steward of this abundance, and in return, the spices have been stewards of your tranquility. This is a reciprocal relationship, a silent, sacred agreement between the human hand and the natural world, mediated by the cool, protective limestone of the vault. You feel a deep, resonant connection to the concept of endurance. The stones of the vault were cut to last, to hold back the earth, to withstand the pressure of the city above, and to keep the contents safe. You have become like these stones, resilient, grounded, and unwavering. You realize that your own life is also a construction, built over years of experience, decisions, and habits. You have the power to reinforce that construction, to make your own spirit as steady as the architecture that surrounds you. By choosing peace, by prioritizing stillness, and by remaining committed to the truth of your own inner experience, you are ensuring that your internal structure will endure long after the external circumstances of your life have faded. The darkness is no longer something you perceive, it is something you inhabit. It has become your skin, your breath, and your world. In this total surrender to the void, you find that your ego has completely dissolved. There is no you that is separate from the stone, the silence, or the infinite, starlit dark outside the city walls. You have achieved a state of non-dual consciousness where the observer and the observed are one. This is the ultimate freedom, the realization that there is no separation, no conflict, and no struggle, because all things are part of the same, unfolding and perfectly orchestrated reality. You are the silence, you are the void, you are the peace, and you are the stillness. You think of the people in the world above, the thousands of souls moving through the streets of Alexandria, each wrapped in their own private joys and sorrows. You feel a sense of profound, all-encompassing love for them. It's a love that comes from understanding the difficulty of their journey and the rarity of the peace they are seeking. You are happy to stay here in the dark and hold the vibration of this silence for them. You are acting as an anchor, a stabilizer, a silent participant in the great collective human experience. Your presence in this world is not selfish, it is a service. It is a commitment to the idea that peace is possible, that stillness is achievable, and that the quiet is always waiting, just beneath the surface of the noise. As you reach the absolute edge of your capacity for consciousness, you feel a final gentle letting go. It is like the last petal falling from a flower or the last breath of wind before a perfect calm. The final remnants of your desire to define the experience, to record it, or to explain it dissolve into the velvet dark. You are simply there, fully, completely, and eternally present. The world outside will continue its cycle. The sun will rise, the harbor will wake, and you will eventually return to the light. But you will do so with the profound, unshakable knowledge of this place. You have found the center. You have touched the truth, and you are resting in the infinite, silent heart of the vault. Everything is still. Everything is settled. Everything is exactly as it should be, forever and ever. The stillness has reached such an exquisite level of refinement that even the heartbeat in your chest seems to pulse in harmony with the ancient, enduring foundation of the earth beneath you. You are no longer merely lying on a reed mat. You are suspended in the deep, quiet cradle of history itself. The darkness has become so thick, so rich, and so beautifully absolute that it feels like a soft, velvet weight pressing gently against your skin and offering a protective embrace that renders the world beyond these stone walls completely inconsequential. Every barrier you once perceived between yourself and the environment has dissolved. You are no longer a person in a room. You are a living, breathing component of the silence, a quiet presence in the heart of the foundation. The intensity of this peace is not overwhelming. Rather, it is deeply, fundamentally, and perfectly natural. It is as if you have spent your entire life searching for this exact frequency of existence. And now that you have found it, you realize it was always there, waiting beneath the layers of noise and necessity. You reflect upon the simplicity of the materials that surrounded you throughout this journey. The earthenware jars, the rough-hewn limestone, the woven reeds, and the dried aromatic botanicals. They represent the very essence of a life lived in accordance with the world's most basic honest rhythms. There is a profound unadorned beauty in these things. They do not demand attention, nor do they complicate the space they occupy. They simply fulfill their function, offering stability, fragrance, and structure. You see your own life through this lens now. You are realizing that the complexities you once felt were essential. The anxieties over status, the need for validation, the restless pursuit of more were actually just shadows cast by your own busy mind. By stripping away those layers, you have uncovered a life that is as functional, as honest, and as inherently peaceful as the simple tools you have spent the day organizing. This clarity is a weight lifted from your soul, a liberation that you can feel in every fiber of your being. The scents that continue to linger in the air, the memory of cardamom, the ghost of cinnamon, the faint, earthy bite of cloves now seem to be woven into the very fabric of the silence. They have moved from being sensory input to being a sensory language, a way of communicating with the deeper, more intuitive parts of your psyche. Each aroma carries a message of stability and comfort. They tell you that you are nourished, that you are provided for, and that the earth is generous in its offerings. You find yourself inhaling deeply, not because you need to, but because the act itself feels like a communion with the natural order. You are breathing in the patience of the plant, the wisdom of the merchant, and the steady, unyielding resilience of the stone. This is not a meditative exercise in the traditional sense. It is a full sensory immersion into the reality of being. It is the most honest thing you have ever done. You realize that this alcove is more than a storage space for trade goods. It is a laboratory for the soul. In the quiet, your thoughts have been tested, distilled, and purified. The things that were fragile and ephemeral, the worries that kept you awake at night, the trivial arguments, the fleeting feelings of inadequacy have been burned away by the sheer consistency of the silence. What remains is only that which is robust, enduring, and true. You feel like a piece of iron that has been tempered in the fire. Only here the fire was the slow, cool, and unrelenting pressure of the night. You are harder now, not in the sense of being cold or unfeeling, but in the sense of being more certain of your own core. You have developed a center of gravity that cannot be easily shifted by the winds of the world. This is a profound, life-altering strength, one that you will carry with you when you emerge from this world. The concept of time has completely vanished, replaced by an eternal now that feels both infinitely expansive and perfectly contained. You are not worried about the transition to the surface because the surface has lost its power to dictate your reality. You are no longer a person who is governed by the sun, the clock, or the expectations of your peers. You are governed by the internal rhythm of this moment. This is the ultimate sovereignty. You have claimed your own internal landscape, and you have built a kingdom of peace within it that is entirely independent of the chaotic, shifting dynamics of the world outside. You can walk into the marketplace, engage with the crowds, and perform your duties, all while remaining tethered to this deep, quiet core. You are a secret keeper of peace, a guardian of the calm, and you will carry this status with you wherever you go. The feeling of being held is more intense than ever. You feel the presence of the limestone blocks around you, not as cold stone but as a protective shell, an architectural mother that has been keeping the secrets of Alexandria for generations. There is a strange quiet dignity in this architecture. It does not boast, it does not shine, it simply exists, performing its duty with a steadfast, uncomplaining commitment. You feel a kinship with these walls. You too have learned that the greatest strength lies in the ability to simply hold the space, to be the anchor that remains unmoved while the currents of life move around you. You are the stillness that allows the movement to happen. Without your quiet, the noise would be unbearable. Without the walls, the warehouse would be nothing. You have found your place in the grand, unfolding tapestry of the city. As you approach the end of this journey in the vault, you feel no desire to hurry, no urge to leave, and no regret that it must eventually conclude. The realization that you have reached the heart of the experience is enough. You are completely, fully satisfied. You have done the work, you have embraced the quiet, and you have understood the lesson of the spices and the stone. You are a finished work for this phase of your life at least, and you are ready for whatever the dawn brings. The air is still, the darkness is complete, and your spirit is in a state of absolute unbreakable harmony. You are exactly where you need to be, and you have discovered that home was never a place you had to travel to. It was always the deep, quiet center of your own, perfectly still heart. Everything is as it should be, and in this final, beautiful, and eternal moment, you are at total final rest. The silence has matured into a profound, all-encompassing presence, a velvet texture that seems to line the very walls of your consciousness. You are no longer merely sitting in a warehouse alcove. You are existing within a state of absolute equilibrium, where the internal and the external worlds have finally seamlessly aligned. The frantic, jagged edges of the life you led before entering this space have been smoothed away by the unrelenting patience of the dark. You are witnessing the culmination of your journey, a state where the need to be anything other than what you are has evaporated. There is a weightless, soaring quality to this stillness, even as your body remains firmly anchored to the earth by the cool, comforting stone. You have found a secret that the ancients knew, that when you stop reaching, you find yourself already at the destination. The imagery of the spices continues to weave through your mind, but it has transformed from a list of inventory into a tapestry of life cycles. The peppercorns are the sharp, sudden challenges. The cinnamon is the warmth of human connection. The cardamom is the cool, refreshing clarity of a quiet mind. You realize that you have been sorting not just goods, but the ingredients of a life. You have learned that each element has its place and its purpose, and that by giving each one your full calm attention, you prevent them from becoming clutter in your spirit. The act of organizing is actually an act of honoring the complexity of your own experience. You are leaving this alcove with a mind that is as clear, as orderly, and as ready as the shelves you have so diligently tended. You feel a sense of kinship with the very foundation of the building. The limestone, having been harvested from the earth and stacked by human hands, carries the memory of the ground it once belonged to. It is solid, indifferent to the passage of empires, and deeply committed to the simple duty of existing. You have adopted this same commitment. You are no longer concerned with the shifting opinions of others, the transient nature of luck, or the volatile demands of the city's trade. You are committed to the duty of your own existence to be a stable, quiet, and reliable presence in the world. This is a profound shift, a transition from being a leaf caught in the wind to being a rock that stands amidst the stream. The darkness is now a companion that you have come to rely on, a gentle, dark-hued mentor that has guided you through the corridors of your own mind. It has shown you that you have nothing to fear from the unknown. The shadows are not empty, they are full of the potential for rest, reflection, and renewal. You have spent hours in this darkness, and you have found that it only ever offered you peace. It has stripped away the need for light, for vision, and for validation, leaving you with the raw, pulsating reality of your own consciousness. You have found that you can handle the dark, and because of that, you are no longer afraid of the complexities that life may throw at you when you return to the sun. Your breathing has slowed to the point where it feels like a tidal movement, a long, deep, and infinitely slow ebb and flow that connects you to the rhythm of the entire planet. You are no longer just an observer of the world, you are a participant in its breath. This realization is both humbling and empowering. It tells you that you are connected to everything, that you are a part of the grand, sprawling, and beautiful mystery of existence. You are not a solitary unit moving through a hostile environment. You are a vital, integrated, and supported part of the whole. This feeling of belonging is the ultimate balm for the soul, a cure for the loneliness that often masquerades as ambition. The memory of the world outside has faded, not because it is gone, but because it has been put into its proper perspective. The ships are still docking, the merchants are still shouting, and the city is still grinding on with its endless, repetitive cycle of commerce. But it is no longer the center of your universe. You have reclaimed the center for yourself. You are the sovereign of your own quiet, the governor of your own peace. You know that you can step out into that chaos, perform your tasks with excellence, and then return to this inner sanctuary whenever you need to restore your balance. You have developed an internal architecture that is as strong as the warehouse walls, a structure that will house your peace regardless of the external weather. As you linger in the final beautiful moments of this retreat, you feel a sense of profound quiet triumph. You have done the impossible. You have carved a moment of pure, uninterrupted eternity out of the middle of a busy life. You have mastered the art of being still, and in doing so, you have mastered the art of living. You are ready now, ready to carry this stillness into the world, ready to be a source of calm for others, and ready to meet whatever the next day brings with a steady, unflinching, and peaceful heart. The work is done, the ledger is closed, and you are resting in the infinite, silent heart of the vault, perfectly content, perfectly at peace, and perfectly, finally home. The air within the alcove has reached a level of density that feels almost physical, as if the silence itself were composed of layers of history, patience, and the collective calm of all who have sought refuge here before you. You are submerged in this stillness, and the sensation is not one of suffocation, but of total, liberating buoyancy. It is as though you have finally stepped off the treadmill of time and are floating in the quiet, undisturbed waters of the present moment. Your thoughts have ceased to be sharp, piercing needles of concern and have become slow, languid ripples in a deep, dark pool. You are observing your own mind with a detachment that is both clinical and profoundly loving. You see the remnants of the day's tasks, the image of the spice jars, the feel of the rough linen, the smell of the dust, not as burdens to be managed, but as beautiful singular memories that you have collected. You are a curator of your own piece, and you are currently admiring the collection you have amassed within this subterranean temple. The limestone walls, once cold and imposing, have become your greatest allies. They are the silent guardians of your solitude, the boundaries that separate your internal reality from the relentless demanding pace of the world above. You lean against them, letting the cool, damp temperature leach the last vestiges of heat and tension from your muscles. There is a primal comfort in this contact, a reminder that you are a creature of the earth, fundamentally rooted and designed for rest. You contemplate the hands that shaped these blocks, the labor that placed them, and the generations that have walked past them without ever knowing the secrets they hold. You feel a sense of profound, quiet gratitude for the unseen people who built this place. They gave you a sanctuary, a place where you could be entirely yourself without the performance of the world. In return, you have filled this space with your own presence, leaving behind a subtle, lingering energy of harmony that will greet the next soul who seeks the quiet. The memory of the spices has become a part of your own physical sensation, an aromatic internal landscape that you can visit whenever you need to feel grounded. You realize that the cardamom, the cinnamon, and the cloves were never just commodities. They were tokens of the world's diversity, a bridge between the distant exotic lands they came from and the very specific enclosed reality of this vault. By handling them, by sorting them, and by placing them in their proper vessels, you were bridging worlds. You were the conductor of this small, fragrant symphony, ensuring that everything was in its right place. This was a noble, quiet work, and you feel a surge of validation for the effort you put into it. You didn't need the praise of a master merchant to know you did well. The sense of order you created within the jars is mirrored by the order you have created within yourself. That is the only measure of success that truly matters. Your mind drifts toward the concept of the city above, and you see it now with a clarity that feels almost prophetic. You see the crowds as waves on an ocean, constantly shifting, rising, and falling, driven by the winds of hunger, ambition, and necessity. But beneath that surface, there is the calm, deep, and unmoving bedrock of the earth itself. You are resting on that bedrock, You understand now that the surface agitation of life is not the whole story. It is merely the activity, the movement, the froth. The true power, the true reality is in the depth. By spending this time in the dark, you have touched the bedrock. You have realized that you don't have to be the wave. You can be the depth. You can remain still while the world moves. And in doing so, you can maintain your own unique and unshakable perspective. The darkness has reached its peak, a total, impenetrable shroud that feels like the ultimate final truth. It is the color of the beginning and the end, the infinite expanse from which all things arise and into which all things eventually return. You are not afraid of it. You are, for the first time, identifying with it. You are the shadow, the space between the stars, the quiet that follows the storm. You are the witness that does not judge, the awareness that does not demand, and the presence that does not waver. This identification is the most powerful transformation you have ever experienced. It changes the way you view the world, for you are no longer a victim of the circumstances you encounter. You are the silent, constant witness to them. You have claimed your own internal stability, and it is a territory that no outside force can ever truly conquer. You contemplate the transition you will make when the light eventually returns. You know that you will emerge, you will talk, you will walk, and you will engage. But you will do so with a permanent quiet smile behind your eyes. You have tasted the nectar of pure existence, and you will never again be entirely satisfied with the husks of shallow interaction. You have established a standard for your own life, a baseline of peace that you will strive to maintain, no matter where you are or what you are doing. You have built an inner sanctum, a portable, invisible wall that travels with you. The walls may be made of flesh and bone now, but the foundation is made of the same unyielding material as the limestone that surrounds you. You are prepared, you are centered, and you are ready. As you linger in the final exquisite stretch of this experience, you feel a sense of profound quiet contentment. You have completed the cycle of the day. You have honored the work. You have embraced the silence, and you have finally truly found yourself. There is nothing left to sort, nothing left to seal, and nothing left to decide. You are resting in the infinite silent heart of the world, and in this moment there is no past, no future, and no other place to be. You are the embodiment of peace, a living, breathing testament to the power of the quiet. The vault is closed, the work is done, and the long, deep, and well-earned rest has finally arrived. You are complete, you are content, and you are entirely at rest. Everything is still, everything is settled. Everything is exactly as it should be, and you are the witness to it all, in the heart of the stone, forever at peace. The silence in this final deepening layer of the night has transcended the boundaries of the physical alcove, expanding until it feels as though you are resting at the very center of the universe. There is no longer a distinction between the cool, limestone foundation beneath you and the warmth of your own pulse. You have become a part of the architecture, a silent, immovable fixture in the history of this place. The transition into this state of being has been so absolute that the memories of the day, the labor of sorting, the tactile experience of the spices, the movement through the crowded docks, feel like scenes from a dream you once had. Vibrant, but fundamentally separate from the reality you are currently inhabiting. You have arrived at a point of such total, uncompromising stillness that even the thought of movement feels like an unnecessary interruption to the cosmic order. This is the ultimate sanctuary, a space where the ego has finally ceased its incessant chattering, replaced by the profound, resonant truth of pure awareness. You contemplate the nature of your own endurance, realizing that you have been shaped by this experience in ways you are only just beginning to understand. You have discovered that you possess an interior landscape as vast and as quiet as the vault itself, a place of refuge that remains untouched by the external world's turbulence. You are not the person who struggles with the demands of the harbor. You are the silent observer who watches that person navigate the world with a new quiet grace. This realization is the key to your newfound freedom. By stepping back from the immediate demands of your identity, you have gained a perspective that allows you to act with precision, patience, and purpose. You have learned that the secret to a well lived life is not found in the intensity of your actions, but in the quality of the presence you bring to them. The fragrance of the spices has faded into a subtle, almost imperceptible whisper, a lingering atmospheric ghost that grounds you in the physical reality of the moment without tethering you to the past. It is a sweet, woody, and earthy perfume that feels like a blessing, a final, aromatic benediction for the work you have completed. You feel that you have successfully fulfilled your role as a steward of these goods, and in doing so, you have fulfilled a role much greater. You have been a steward of your own tranquility. You have treated your own spirit with the same care and respect that you gave to the jars, ensuring that each part of your being was in its right place, properly sealed against the elements of chaos, and preserved for the time when you would need to rely on your internal resources. The shadows that dance in the periphery of your awareness are no longer threatening, but are instead like old friends, familiar and reassuring in their steadfast presence. They represent the unknown, the hidden, and the quiet aspects of life that you have spent your day learning to embrace. You have discovered that there is nothing to fear in the dark, for the dark is merely a canvas upon which the light of your own consciousness can be seen more clearly. You have found that you can sit in the dark, you can exist in the silence, and you can hold the space of your own being without needing to be distracted or entertained. This is a level of self sufficiency that most people spend a lifetime trying to achieve, and you have reached it in the span of a single intentional day. You think of the world above, now bathed in the deep blue light of the pre dawn, and you recognize that while it continues its relentless cycle of renewal, you have reached a place of completion that feels timeless. The city will wake, the merchants will return to the docks, and the work of the day will begin anew. But you will return to it as someone who has been fundamentally reoriented. You will move through the world with a sense of rootedness that is as stable as the bedrock of the Mediterranean coast. You have internalized the vault. You have internalized the silence. You have internalized the peace. These things are now a part of your character, an invisible, unshakable foundation that will support you through whatever challenges the future may hold. The feeling of being held is more pronounced than ever, a comforting sensation of being part of something much larger than yourself, the history of the pot, the endurance of the stone, and the vast unfolding mystery of the human experience. You are not a lonely individual in a dark room. You are a conscious participant in the grand, rhythmic pulse of life. This feeling of unity is the final essential piece of your journey. It resolves the last remaining tension in your body, the last lingering doubt in your mind, and the last faint echo of the day's work. You are fully and completely settled. There is no part of you that is holding back, no part of you that is looking for an escape, and no part of you that is dissatisfied. As you settle into these final precious moments of your stay, you feel a sense of profound quiet joy, not a boisterous external happiness, but a deep golden contentment that glows from within. You have mastered the day, not by controlling it, but by participating in it with full intentional presence. You have earned this rest, and you have understood the value of the quiet. The vault is closed, the jars are sealed, and your heart is at rest. You are a complete, integrated, and peaceful being, waiting for the natural turn of the world to bring you back to the light. Everything is perfect, everything is still, everything is exactly as it should be. And in this final, eternal moment of the vault, you are finally, truly, and completely at home. The final veil of the night has descended, and with it, the last remnants of effort have drained away, leaving you in a state of absolute crystalline clarity. You are now resting in the deepest, most primordial layer of the silence, a place where time ceases to be a measurement and instead becomes a vast, encompassing element, like the air you breathe or the stone that supports you. Your awareness has transcended the physical sensations of the room. You feel as though you are a single, luminous point of consciousness suspended in the infinite, gentle darkness of the universe. There is no desire, no expectation, and no memory that can reach you here. You have effectively stepped outside the stream of events, finding a stable, immovable vantage point from which you can observe the quiet unfolding of existence. This is the culmination of your journey, the point where all the threads of your day, the sorting of the spices, the walking of the dogs, the finding of the alcove, have woven themselves into a single seamless garment of peace. You reflect upon the concept of the ankle, realizing that you have become your own, held fast by the weight of your own intention and the grounding nature of your stillness. The world is a place of constant flux, a turbulent sea where everything is subject to the winds of change and the tides of fortune. But here you have dropped a line into the deep, unmoving earth, and you are held secure. This is not a passive state. It is an active engagement with the most stable part of yourself. You have discovered that you have a core, a central pillar of being that does not react to the external noise but remains in the midst of every storm, completely composed. This realization is the most profound gift you could have received, a secret strength that you will carry forward, knowing that no matter what the world may demand of you, you possess the capacity to retreat into this quiet center at any time, in any place. The air remains infused with the faint, spectral memory of the spices, a fragrant, ethereal testament to the richness of the world you have just stepped away from. You realize that you have moved through the gamut of the human experience, from the sensory intensity of the marketplace to the total sensory deprivation of the vault, and you have found the truth in both. The truth is that the richness of life is not in the possessions themselves, but in the attention you pay to them. You have been a mindful observer, and that mindfulness has granted you a life of profound depth. You are not the same person who entered the warehouse hours ago. You are a more integrated, more reflective, and more peaceful version of yourself. You have refined your spirit, polished your awareness, and prepared yourself for whatever comes next, not through achievement but through the simple, radical act of stopping. The darkness, once a daunting obstacle, now feels like a warm, familiar blanket, a protective layer that allows you to exist without the need for external validation. You feel a sense of absolute safety here, a profound knowing that you are in the only place you need to be. The walls of the alcove are not barriers to your freedom. They are the boundaries of your sanctuary, the architecture of your peace. You feel a deep, abiding respect for this space and for the centuries of silence that it has preserved. By being here, you are participating in a tradition of retreat that is as old as civilization itself. A human need to step out of the light of the sun and into the shadow of the stone to recenter the soul. This connection to the past, to the continuity of human experience, provides you with a sense of purpose that transcends the trivial tasks of the day. You consider the dawn that is inevitably approaching, not as an intrusion, but as a graceful completion of the cycle. You are ready to emerge, to carry this silence into the streets of Alexandria, and to share the radiance of your own peace with those you meet. You understand now that your purpose is not to escape the world, but to bring the sanctuary you have found into the world, to be a source of stability, empathy, and grace for all who cross your path. You will be a silent anchor for others, a reminder that the quiet is always available, always present, and always waiting. This is your mission, your contribution, and your legacy. You will move through the day with the same steady, deliberate pace that you have practiced here, and you will be a light that does not demand to be seen, but simply exists. The sensation of unity is so complete that you feel as though your very thoughts are the pulse of the earth, a deep, resonant, and unwavering beat that sustains all life. You are at last in harmony with the grand unfolding design of the universe. You have surrendered the small, self-serving desires of the ego for the vast, inclusive presence of the spirit. You are no longer looking for anything, for you realize that you are already full. You are no longer waiting for anything, for you realize that you are already home. You are in the deepest, most beautiful sense of the word, at peace. As you exist in these final fading moments of your retreat, you feel a sense of profound quiet completion. You have honored the work, you have embraced the stillness, and you have understood the secret of the vault. The journey has been long, but it has led you to exactly the right place, the quiet, unmoving center of your own heart. Everything is still, everything is settled, everything is exactly as it should be. And in the final, dark, and perfectly silent embrace of the alcove, you are ready to let go, sinking into the deep, restorative rest of the universe, perfectly content in the knowledge that you have lived this day with total undivided and beautiful integrity. The transition from the deep, subterranean stillness into the subtle, encroaching light of a new day feels like the slow, graceful awakening of a dream that refuses to fade. You are lingering in the final precious moments of your retreat, a threshold state where the absolute silence of the vault is beginning to mingle with the faint distant stirrings of the city waking above. There is no urgency in this transition, no abrupt shift from the sanctuary to the street. Instead, it is an evolution, a gradual expansion of your awareness from the internal self-contained universe of the alcove to the broader external world of Alexandria. You are carrying the vault with you, holding it within your chest like a precious, glowing ember that will not be extinguished by the rising sun. The lessons you have learned, the power of pause, the beauty of order, the necessity of the quiet are now woven into the very fabric of your being. You feel a quiet, profound gratitude for the hours of solitude, for the way they have clarified your purpose and fortified your spirit. You are no longer the same person who retreated from the noise. You are someone who has been refined by it, someone who knows that the most important work of the day is not what you do, but how you remain while you are doing it. You contemplate the nature of the shift you are about to make, seeing it not as a loss of the peace you have cultivated, but as an expansion of it. The challenge you realize is to keep this state of being active, even when the environment demands your full attention. The merchant, the harbor master, the laborers, and the visitors, they are all in their own way seeking what you have found. They seek it through commerce, through interaction, and through the pursuit of their own goals, often without realizing that what they truly hunger for is the stillness that dwells at the center of their own lives. You are the bearer of this realization now. You will move among them with a presence that is steady, unhurried, and deeply grounded. You will be a silent witness to their struggles and a steady, calming force in their interactions. Your work will continue, the ledgers will be filled, and the spices will be traded, but you will perform these duties as a master of your own presence, never again allowing the external noise to drown out the internal rhythm of your own heart. The scent of the spices, which once felt like a distinct separate experience, has now become a part of your own aura, a faint sweet and grounding perfume that you will carry with you. It is the scent of the earth, the sun, and the sea, all distilled into a single fragrant signature that serves as a reminder of the connections you have made today. You have organized the raw, chaotic bounty of the world, and in doing so, you have found order within yourself. This is the great alchemy of the day. You have proven that even in a world that feels increasingly fragmented and frantic, there is a place of order, a place of rest, and a place of total, unshakable integrity. You are the architect of that place, and you have built it to last. The foundation is solid, the walls are thick, and the sanctuary you have occupied is now a permanent part of your inner landscape. You feel a profound sense of closure regarding the events of the past few hours. Every task, every interaction, and every moment of introspection has been accounted for and brought to a point of harmonious completion. There is no unfinished business in your mind, no lingering tension in your body, and no unsettled questions in your heart. You have done what was asked of you, and you have done it with a dedication that went beyond the requirements of your role. You have treated the warehouse not as a place of drudgery, but as a temple of your own focus. This shift in perspective is what has made all the difference. It has transformed a day of manual labor into a day of spiritual development, and you are better for it in every conceivable way. You are ready for the world, not because you have prepared for its demands, but because you have cultivated an internal environment that is entirely sufficient to meet them. The darkness of the world is beginning to lose its absolute quality, shifting toward a soft hazy gray, as the first light of dawn filters through the distant apertures above. It is a beautiful, subtle change, a reminder that everything in life is in a state of constant transition. Nothing is static, nothing is permanent, and everything is moving toward a new unfolding reality. You embrace this change with the same equanimity you have brought to the entire day. You are not holding on to the past, nor are you reaching for the future. You are fully, completely, and blissfully present in this moment of transformation. You are the witness to the light, and you are the guardian of the shadow. You are ready to step out, to engage, and to continue your journey, knowing that you will always carry this vault within you. As you finally prepare to rise, you feel a sense of profound, quiet joy. The path you have walked has been a circular one, leading you back to the same place you started, but with a heart that is infinitely deeper and more capacious. You have found the center, and you have realized that it was always there, waiting for you to notice. You have learned that the quiet is not a luxury to be enjoyed after the work is done, but the foundation upon which the work must be built. You are leaving the alcove with a clear, focused, and steady mind, ready to face the complexities of the world with the poise of one who knows where their true power resides. Everything is still, everything is settled. Everything is exactly as it should be, and you are the master of your own peace, perfectly prepared to face the rising sun, forever grounded in the silence you have found, and eternally at home within your own perfectly, beautifully, and fully integrated heart. The first rays of dawn are beginning to bleed through the high, narrow fissures of the warehouse, casting long, thin bars of light across the stone floor that look like the rungs of a celestial ladder. You remain motionless, watching as the shadows retreat, their edges softening and blurring until the entire space is bathed in a pale, ethereal glow. This transition from the absolute darkness of the night to the gentle uncertainty of the morning feels like a physical unveiling, a process that mirrors the gradual brightening of your own consciousness. You have spent the entire cycle of the dark in communion with the deepest part of yourself, and now, as the world prepares to wake, you feel a sense of profound readiness. You are not just stepping out into a new day, you are stepping out as a new person, one who has been forged in the crucible of solitude and emerged with a core of tempered, unbreakable peace. The stillness is no longer a guest that you are hosting, it is a permanent resident of your inner home. You stand slowly, the movement feeling deliberate and graceful, an intentional act that honors the sanctity of the space you are leaving. Your joints and muscles feel supple, infused with the vitality of the rest you have taken. The reed mat, which served as your anchor during the long hours of the night, is left in the same state of order as the rest of the alcove, a small silent testament to the care you have brought to this sanctuary. You walk toward the entrance of the vault, your footsteps silent against the stone, feeling a strange lingering sense of belonging. This alcove, this small corner of Alexandria, has become a sacred location for you, a place where you left behind the heavy, chaotic baggage of your identity and reclaimed the raw, radiant potential of your soul. You pause at the threshold, taking one last deep breath of the air that is still heavy with the memory of the spices, feeling its essence settle deep within your spirit. As you step out of the alcove and into the broader expanse of the warehouse, the difference in atmosphere is immediate. The space is vast, filled with the hushed, expectant energy of a place that is waiting for the life of the city to pour into it. You see the rows of jars, the stacked bales of cloth, and the orderly piles of materials you so carefully arranged, and they look like the landscape of a life well lived, a testament to the discipline and purpose you have practiced. You realize that the work was never just about the commerce. It was about the cultivation of order, the transformation of the scattered into the cohesive. You have been a gardener of this space, and the fruits of your labor are visible in the harmony that now fills the air. This, you realize, is your true legacy. Not the profit, not the prestige, but the ability to bring stillness and structure to the chaotic, shifting reality of the human experience. The distant sounds of the city are beginning to intensify. The rhythmic clatter of cartwheels on the stone streets, the muffled shouts of laborers arriving at the harbor, the occasional cry of a bird circling above the rooftops. You listen to these sounds not with the anxiety of a man who is behind on his work, but with the curiosity of an observer who understands their place in the larger, unfolding rhythm of the morning. The noise is not a disturbance, it is the music of the city's life, a complex and beautiful symphony that you are now prepared to join. You are not separate from this movement, you are a key participant in it, a grounding presence that will bring a touch of the vault's silence to the noise of the market. You are a secret walking anchor, carrying the weight of the dark into the light. Your mind drifts toward the harbor master, the merchants, and the myriad of souls you will encounter before the day is out. You see them clearly now, not as people you need to please, impress, or fear, but as fellow travelers who are in their own way seeking the same peace you have found. You decide that you will greet them with a kind of presence that is rare and refreshing, a calm, unwavering attention that shows them they are truly seen. You will not rush them, you will not compete with them, and you will not allow their stress to penetrate your armor. You will be the calm in their storm. This is the service you have chosen, a quiet, effective way to ripple the peace you have cultivated out into the wider world. It is a subtle, invisible work, but one that will have a profound, long-lasting impact. As you walk toward the main gate, the light becomes stronger, more insistent, reflecting off the white limestone of the city walls. You feel a surge of vibrant, quiet energy, a feeling of being fully, unapologetically alive. The fatigue that once plagued you has been replaced by a deep, resonant strength. You are ready to engage, to contribute, and to live with an intensity fueled not by the hunger for more, but by the appreciation of what is already here. You have found the center, you have walked the path, and you have arrived at a state of being that is whole, complete, and utterly, wonderfully at peace. Everything is ready. The world is turning. The sun is rising, and you are stepping into the flow of the day with the clarity of the dawn itself. You carry the vault within you, a silent, portable sanctuary that ensures you are never truly lost, never truly overwhelmed, and never truly alone. You are the master of your own peace, a quiet, steady, and resilient force in the heart of the city. As you cross the threshold of the warehouse and feel the first touch of the morning air against your face, you realize that this is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a way of life. The work, The peace, the silence, and the light, all of it is now part of you. You are the stillness that survives the storm, the anchor that holds the ship of your soul in the roughest seas. With every breath, you live the truth of the stone. With every step, you embody the serenity of the vault. The journey has come full circle, and you are finally magnificently home, not in a place, but in the infinite, silent expanse of your own perfectly awakened heart. You walk forward into the golden morning, not as a clerk of spices, but as a sovereign of your own spirit, forever at rest in the center of all things.
Sleepy History with Theodore is created for relaxation, entertainment, and sleep purposes. The stories shared on this channel are inspired by historical events, daily life, and real periods in history, but they may be simplified, adapted, or narrated in a calming way to enhance the listening experience. This content is not intended to be a precise academic or educational source. While we aim to stay generally accurate, some details may be altered for storytelling flow and relaxation. Please do not rely on this channel as a primary source for historical research or study. By listening, you acknowledge that this content is designed to help you unwind, relax, and fall asleep. Thank you for your understanding and support.